Good morning, my Teaserking family. How is everybody doing today? All right, so we did draft yesterday. In 1 minute, I'm getting my pita. So I got Toyota tomorrow. I get the free oil change because I give them football picks. But I scheduled it at 1:40 after class. And then I think I have an interview, but I'm not sure yet. I've been put in for an interview, but I don't have an official date or time. Back with Mercedes, where I worked for 4 years as some sort of finance role. They wanted to undercut me with the pay, and I said, no. I've been there 4 years. This is what I want. And so they're putting me in at the pay I wanted that I was getting at the other places. I love when places think you can just come in and do your work without training, without anything. It's like the NFL. Every offense and defense is different. You can't look at Aaron Rodgers, what he was doing in Green Bay, went to the Jets. It's not the same offense. Well, you're a quarterback. Like, doesn't work that way. That's why the draft's so tricky. The draft's tricky because of the matchup. So Jackson Dart played at Ole Miss for Lane Kiffin. So he runs that offense. The Giants took him. The Giants do not run the Lane Kiffin offense. He's a bust star. Before he starts, he's a bust. He'll never learn that offense. It's not made. I don't even know what they run, but it's not made for a running quarterback, as Daniel Jones showed you. We don't know what it is. Same thing with Lamar at Baltimore. You can't have a running quarterback offense against Kansas City and Buffalo and San Diego and Denver and all these teams. Don't work. All right, let me get my pita. Got my pita, got my avocado, had my Celtic salt. I'm ready to go. So Daria finally talked to me today. I don't know what it is with people. If I was going to Vegas, I would tell Daria, I'm going to Vegas tomorrow. I'll be back Sunday. And I would text her in Vegas. And she goes up to her cottage with her girlfriend. And there's no internet. So when she doesn't text me before, she can't text me till she gets back. In the meantime, I don't hear from her for 4 or 5 days. Now I'm getting used to it. Used to bother me. But I'm like, just text me before you're going. That should be on the list. Tell Howard I'm up here. She's been getting better at that, but she says, I forgot. And I says, well, look, I just want to make sure you're okay, because when I don't hear from you for 5 days. So imagine if you don't hear from me from 5 days, you're probably extremely upset. So anyway, I'm getting used to Daria, but again, we still need to meet. But we'll see. This war, Zelensky won't end the war because he knows if he ends the war, they'll kick him out, put him in jail. So he keeps fighting to stay in power, and the only way you can stay in power is to keep the war going, even though he kills millions of Ukrainians. He doesn't care. All he cares about is he stays in power. You wonder what's fucked with the war, with the world, right? All right, let's take a look at our gold. It took a big jump at 10 o'clock. It got up to 33.31, but notice the trend. This was, I don't know what China was doing. It was with the yes, a sketch, and then it falls to 32.75 at 6. And then just before 10, it falls to 32.80, 32.90. Then right at 10, the US buys cheap. And now it went up to 33.31. So it's now 33.25, which is good. It's showing you it's still in the 30. So why does it go cheap? So somebody can buy it. This is how warped it is. This is not free market, right? This card never goes cheap. Right? If it's a 10 or a 9, let's say it's a 10 and it's worth 100 grand, it never goes cheap. It never goes 70 grand. It's 100 grand and it only goes up. Or the Brady card, or here this Lemieux card. I guarantee you never goes down. You know, if this is graded, it looks like a 10. This is graded and it's a 10 and it's 100 grand. It doesn't go down. It stays at 100 grand. But gold, for some reason, it does go down so they can buy it. We're all idiots, I guess. Silver 33.12, it's not moving anywhere. All these Andy Scheckman and all these other idiots saying, "Oh, on this date, silver's going to jump." It ain't jumping until July 1st if it goes Basel III and Tier 1. Then you'll see it move. There is no silver left, so they can't cover the contracts when people want to take delivery of the silver, but they don't have to deliver the silver because that's not how it's set up. The way COMEX was set up, it was just between London and New York, and it was all paper and it was all bullshit. That's the problem with it. This is not real. This is fantasy, terribly done. It would be like a fixed basketball game. You're like, what the fuck? So I'm not quite sure how they're getting away with it, except for that's why I say the banks are run by the mafia, and the mafia run the banks run the government, because nowhere in a free market society, in a free market system where it's based on a seller and a buyer. So free market means I go to sell this, I see what other ones have gone for. That's what I put it in my auction for. Oh, the last two sold for 90,000. I'm going to sell this for 90,000. I get a buyer or a couple of buyers and I get 90,000 for it. That's free market. What they're doing is, well, I'll do a derivative for $5 and okay, I'll buy the derivative at 5, even though it's really worth 90. People don't really know the real price of gold and silver. It's up here. All they know is this COMEX price. So this is why we get paid the big money, right? We know this is the real price and this is the COMEX price. So when we go into the store and buy it at this ridiculously low price, we sing and dance all our way out because we know it's really worth this much. COMEX hasn't gotten there yet, but we know it's slow. Look at gold, 3,300, 3,400, 3,500. Slowly get there. This is probably about 20 grand, because you must understand concepts and theories. So why is gold worth so much? Because it's limited, it's money, it's highly demanded, and all the paper is gone. This is worthless and this is worthless because you can't print it to death. If you keep printing it, it's worthless. I was watching something on some Keynesian thing yesterday, and they were saying, well, you can print as much dollars as, they can print unlimited dollars until they lose confidence. Well, Yeah, because you print so much, it's got no value. The more you print, the less. Pretty soon Coke will be $10 at the grocery store, and that's the now 33, 32. Go team, go! Trump's buying gold today. And I don't like when they say there's no way out of the debt. There is a way out of the debt. They just choose to not say it. It's gold. Gold will get you out of the debt. Because let's say you owe $5,000 and you have an ounce of gold, and the ounce of gold was worth $2,000. And then the ounce of gold went up in value to now it's at 33, 32. And it gets all the way up to 5,000. I can sell my ounce of gold for 5,000 and I get out of my debt. All they got to do is A, have gold, which they don't. B, raise the price high enough to get to 37 trillion. And then give China, Japan, and all the Euro countries who have your debt the gold for it. Here's 10 tons of gold, we're done. Here's 15 tons, we're done. That's what they need to do. That's the only way out of the debt problem. It's not, I love how they call it a debt crisis or that. Everything's a crisis. What a bunch of losers. There's no such thing as a crisis. You have a problem, you need to solve it. That's stoic. So what you're looking at there, hey, David, what did I think of the draft? All right, let me finish my thought. There's no such thing as a debt crisis. It's just you're printing the money to zero. You're causing the problem of the money, and you need to switch money. You need to get out of this and get into gold. And if you don't have gold, you need to buy it, or silver or something. But you need to create a dollar that's backed by something, because if it's not backed by anything, the dollar's worthless. Right away, even if they come out with crypto or digital or anything, if it's not backed by anything, it's worthless. All right, David, what did I think of the draft? I thought it was a very strange draft that all the key players went in the 6th and 7th round. So here's what I mean. Will Howard goes late. Dylan Gabriel doesn't go to the 3rd round. Curtis Rourke goes the 7th round to San Francisco. That's the steal of the draft. Cam Ward going first should never go first. Dart in the 1st round should never go. And Prime Jr., why did Cleveland take Prime Jr. if they just took Dylan Gabriel? Running backs, Gentry goes high. Scatterboo kind of goes later. Devin Neal goes in the 6th round. He's the 3rd best running back. Johnson goes to Pitt. Tajee Brooks goes in, I believe, the 7th round to Cincinnati. Cincinnati's first pick was a mistake. They got the wrong defensive end from A&M. They get the guy who doesn't do anything. Then they take a more defense, and then Tajee Brooks in the 7th round was the 4th rated quarterback. Samson, Tennessee, and receivers were terrible. There was no receivers. Hunter's, I don't know what position he's going to play. I don't even remember what team he's on. Jacksonville. Jacksonville had a terrible draft. They'll still be 2-15 next year. Tennessee won't improve. If you watched Cam Ward, if you watch him at Washington State, you see he's no good. So Tennessee, he's lucky he's in a bad division. Houston will eat him up. Jacksonville has no defense, and Indianapolis, I don't know what they're doing. They did draft a quarterback. Who did they draft? I don't remember who they drafted. I was watching some games yesterday. Georgia and Texas, Ohio State and Oregon. Dylan Gabriel is a star. I mean, he put the ball under immense pressure right on the numbers of these guys, 30 yards down the field. I don't know what the fuck they're talking about. No arm strength. He gets out of ways. In the Michigan game, he ran up the middle for 20-yard touchdown. He's very clever. He's very smart. He'll be like Bo Nix, only left-handed. I really don't get that people think he's old. How old is he? What, 40? And he's not slow. He knows how to run. He's as fast as Mahomes. Mahomes isn't. They don't care how fast Mahomes is. He doesn't run very rarely. Joe Burrow, is he fast? It probably doesn't matter because he's the best quarterback there is. TK Raiders took these two quarterbacks. Yeah, I don't understand. You could have had Dylan Gabriel. You could have had the guy who went Curtis Rourke. You could have had Frisco took him in the 7th round. They could have had him as one of their two quarterbacks. He's good. He's out of Indiana. Yeah, they only lost one game to Ohio State and it was all bullshit on rain and punts. So I don't really understand that. I don't know why you would draft the two quarterbacks they drafted when you could get them as free agents, and why you would get two. I mean, when you should just get one. I don't really understand that. Overall, I think overall it's not really a good draft, but I think it's analytics ruining it again. Everybody sees what Philadelphia did to win the title, going, we don't need a quarterback. All we need is this killer defense. And there was a lot of defense drafted and a lot of offensive linemen drafted. But the mistake is you're letting these, good running backs and good quarterbacks go in the 5th, 6th, 7th round. I mean, Curtis Rourke, Gabriel goes late. Will Howard goes in like the 5th or 6th round. Guy won the national title. What did Prime Jr. do? Did he win it? He couldn't beat BYU. I mean, it was like, are you kidding me? Alex, good morning. I am fine. I'm waiting. Tomorrow I'm taking the car in to get the oil changed. I get free oil changes at the dealership because I give the guy football picks. He bets football. So I've exchanged, and I gave him an ounce of silver. So I kind of bought my oil change with an ounce of silver. Otherwise, fine. Interesting draft. I kind of noticed it. Talking draft, sure, we can talk it. That Sanders drama was so predictable. Nobody wants the Sanders drama in their locker room. Well, I think the big problem is he's not good. That's the bigger problem, is he's not very good. He you know what he reminds me of is that he reminds me of Colin Kaepernick, and nobody wants that. He's not good. He's not better than I would much rather have Dylan Gabriel all day. I mean, that's a joke. He's so much better. So I'm not really sure what the Browns were doing, drafting Dylan Gabriel and then drafting Prime and getting the circus to town, like you said. Sort of like Johnny Manziel and Kaepernick. And he's not even good. At best, he'll be a third stringer. He just runs around. He's like Caleb. He gets the ball and he dances. Bryce Young. These quarterbacks that can't sit in the pocket. It's impossible to block for. That's the problem. I mean, so I don't really see where they got any value at all. I think that Cleveland, needs help. Could have easily drafted another offensive lineman there. I like teams that drafted the offensive lineman late. First round offensive lineman is a killer because I showed an example yesterday. There was a guy from Michigan drafted in the 6th round, starting right guard or whatever. And I said, you tell me the difference between the guy from LSU drafted in the first round, because you can't tell me the difference, because you can't really understand pass blocking. And I can always blitz 6 and neutralize your 5 pass blockers with blitzes. It's not like the left tackle or whatever does anything that, all right, maybe he keeps them out, but okay, I'll move the guy to the right side, and then I don't deal with the left tackle. So there's many ways to not go away from that. That's why you just draft the guy in the 5th or 6th round, and you can't really show me a difference. There's been many teams, those old Cowboy teams, Larry Allen and the big Nate Newton, they weren't first round draft choices, but they were good block. They knew how to block, and that's what Jimmy Johnson taught them. And that's what you want. You want somebody that can block. But if you start at Michigan or Ohio State or Penn State, you're obviously a good blocker. You wouldn't be starting there. So what's the guy in the first round going to do that better than what you're going to do? Oh, it makes no sense how they come. How do you grade an offensive lineman? Unbelievable. Can't believe the Browns took him after taking Gabriel. Yeah, I couldn't either. I thought that was really strange. Looks like the draft room might have been forced to take him by ownership after they showed the draft room after the Sanders pick. They were not celebrating. Looked like someone just stole their candy. Well, I think that's the problem. Like Indianapolis, they had to take Richardson because the owner wanted him. These owners are getting too involved. All right. If I was running a car company, I would know nothing about tools and machinery and equipment. I don't know anything. I bring in an engineer, and you go fix it. If I needed an AI guy, I'd pick you, Alex. But I don't know everything. And the fact that I own it is all I can do. But I can't make the draft. And what if he tells the coach to start Prime Junior and not Dylan Gabriel, and the coach has to quit because he's not going to win? And I'm sure they'll play him in the preseason, and he'll complete a pass, and everybody, oh my God, look, he completed a 5-yard out, or he hit the running back on a little slant, or he hit the receiver on the wide receiver screen where you throw the ball behind the screen, the line. It's like JJ McCarthy in Minnesota. They're making a huge mistake. It's the same thing as Kirk Cousins. He was never good at Michigan. I don't know what they're watching. I watch Michigan. I live in Michigan. I would never have drafted JJ McCarthy, period. He's a little bit of a runner. He's not accurate. He got in against Georgia when he wasn't the starter, and he fumbled, and there's a lot of turnovers. So I really don't know what they're looking at with JJ McCarthy. I think it's a huge mistake. I think that's why Aaron Rodgers didn't go there. He wants to be the star. When you're Aaron Rodgers, you're the star of the show, right? You don't want to share it with JJ McCarthy, who's never played. Look at Jordan Love at Green Bay. He's not very good. He's had a few good games, but he has a lot of turnovers. He gets hurt a lot. He's against the Lions, he got killed in the playoff game. I think they got killed. But I agree with you, Alex, is these owners get involved, and then they wonder why they lose. Who do you think made these picks at Oakland for these two quarterbacks that one's on Montana State and one's at North Dakota State? Another Carson Wentz or Trey Lance? Look how good Trey Lance is. What a joke that is. And they here we'll take them. Well, they're playing Division II ball. They're playing Eastern Iowa. Get them against Ohio State and see what he does. And that's why I bring up these Ohio State guys against Michigan. If you can't win in that game, then you're just a choke. Will Howard, okay, where was the passing? They passed all over Notre Dame. They passed all over Tennessee. They passed all over Oregon. And against Michigan, they got 10 points and missed 2 field goals. And I just watched that game. Now I looked at the Lions, their first draft pick, number 91 from Ohio State. The guy's a bust. I watched 3 games. I watched the Michigan game, the Oregon game, and the Notre Dame game. The guy didn't make one tackle. The guy wasn't even in any of the plays. He got blocked out of everything. And if you remember, I said this about Chase Young when he was at Ohio State. And again, in the Michigan game, he got blocked all over the place and he never did anything. And I said, he's a bust. And it's the same thing with this guy. He's a big fat number 91. He doesn't do anything. He gets blocked out. The only reason he made a tackle is because he was on the ground and the guy ran into him. He didn't make a tackle. He didn't make a pressure. He's just big, but he's not good. This was your first pick. The guy they should have got was the safety that made 52 tackles, was number 10 or 20. That guy was great. Again, taking the wrong player. Detroit's good at that. He'll never see the field unless of the injury. So he's like there. So if they have a bunch of injuries again, all this spam stuff. Alex, I'm surprised Seth Hennigan was undrafted. 4-year starter at Memphis, consistent winner. Jacksonville signed him as a free agent after draft. Well, that's what I'm talking about. These good quarterbacks aren't being drafted. How about Jordan McLeod from your neck of the woods, Texas State? Now, maybe he wasn't in the draft. He's better than all these guys, except for maybe I had Dylan Gabriel 1 and Will Howard 2 and Jordan McLeod 3. This guy was at Texas State, just 6'4", 240, and could throw the ball like no tomorrow. Very good thrower, and he could run. He must not have been in the draft. I mean, how could you miss a guy like this guy? And they averaged like 45 points a game with him in the lineup. I remember locking when he was injured. He came back in, and they're playing some shit team, and I put a big lock on it, and they won by like 40 because he was back. Yeah, well, again, you got Prime Jr. and Seth Hennigan. I guarantee you, as you're saying, is 10 times better. As is Will Howard. Why did Will Howard drop? He won the fucking national title. He was very good at Kansas State. Tyler Shaw, he got beat out at Texas Tech. Jackson Dart was a third stringer at USC, so he transferred to Ole Miss and played for, Lane Kiffin, who just runs this spread offense, and he runs a lot in it. He was always a running quarterback. He was never a good thrower. I thought Pitt had an outstanding draft, and Atlanta got Pierce and the other guy from Georgia. You're not going to score on Alabama. And then you got Penix. Forget about it. Atlanta's winning that division and probably going to be the 1 seed with what they did. I mean, they're much better than Detroit. Minnesota doesn't have a quarterback. Green Bay, I'm doubting, has a quarterback. And why did Green Bay take all these receivers? They had 5 receivers. Why are they taking the first pick, Golden, out of Texas, who he's okay, but, I watched the Georgia game. He didn't do all that. I thought KC made a mistake not drafting Skadaboo in the second round. He goes to the Giants. So, he'll be all right, but he's not on the right team. He'd be better on Kansas City or a team like that. So, yeah, I agree. It was I didn't love the players. I think are weak, and way too many linemen were drafted. It's like these guys are just idiots, right? They don't know what they're doing, so they just, Philadelphia won with the defense, so we'll do it. They got 7 Georgia guys on their Philadelphia defense. That's why they won. That's why their defense is so good. And I'm talking from the I give up 7 points a game, Georgia defense. And so teams are trying to copycat them, but the players aren't very good. And then you're letting Devin Neal go in the sixth round of I think it was the Steelers. I loved him on Kansas. He beat Colorado all by himself. He ran for like 250 yards. Colorado couldn't do shit. He's good. This Jackson, Iowa, is good. And he went. Pitt had a good draft, and they got Will Howard. And I don't know. He's better than what they have because they don't have anybody. Now, if they get Aaron Rodgers, it's perfect. Let Aaron Rodgers play a year or two, and then you got Will Howard as the backup. Perfect. You're all set for quarterback. And running back, the kid from Iowa is very good. And they got the defensive tackle they got from Oregon is outstanding. See, when you start watching the games, you watch Oregon, Ohio State, the Gary Danielson said, "Oh, this is the key guy. This is the guy." And that's the best guy on Oregon's defense was the nose tackle that Pitt grabbed. And the same thing with these others. That's like Ohio State, their best player was number 10. I can't remember his name. Not this 91 who the Lions picked. He won't even start. You've wasted a first-round pick, and everybody says how great the GM is, and I just shake my head going, you've got to be out of your fucking mind. What do you mean he's great? He's not great. 33-26 in gold as we move to the world of sports. Man, was I hot in the NBA the last 3 or 4 days. Holy shit. I'm going to shoot this dog. He keeps barking like enough already. I think there's maintenance there. All right, let's read. Raiders suck at drafting. They don't know what they're doing, and it's probably because the owner gets involved, and it's another like a Jerry Jones, and they don't know what they're doing, and they draft and wonder why they don't even make the playoffs. Colorado's not that great. There was like 4 receivers from Colorado drafted. Can somebody explain that? They didn't have 4 receivers that were NFL type at Colorado. And there was a lot of receivers from Ohio State, which I couldn't figure out. They had the freshman and they had Mbagwa, and that was it. So I really didn't understand that either. Again, the GM's not knowing what they're doing. Got to be careful with the little nut of the avocado. Don't want to eat that. I think what's happening is I watch the games because we bet on them. Therefore, I have to know the players, and I have to know who's good and bad, and I have to know the quarterbacks, and I have to know the coaches. And I think in the pros, they just look at the little field day when they're in shorts and T-shirts, and they look at this. Oh, he ran a 4.340. I don't care. I saw him in the game. He's good. Dylan Gabriel, he's fine. There's no problem with his arm. What are you talking about? He's throwing ropes 40 yards down the field, hitting the guy in the numbers. What part of the arm are you worried about? I watched the guy Milton at Michigan, and he sucked. And he went to Tennessee, and he sucked. He might have a big arm, but he can't hit the guy in the numbers. It's stuff like that where we look at it much stronger than they look at it. And I watch all the games, and I'm watching the highlights, and I'm seeing what I'm seeing. The kid from Ohio State, the safety, I think he's the same. Maybe he's a linebacker, made like 100 tackles. I'm like, that's the guy you draft. He's a playmaker. Or Georgia, you quickly pick up who you should be taking, and this is what the problem is I don't think they know what they're doing, and I think what they're doing is trying to use analytics. Well, he ran a 4.40 and he could jump 6 feet in the air, and he's left-handed and he's 24 years old, and okay, yeah, I'm going to draft him without even seeing the guy. So my guess is these Colorado receivers, maybe they ran a 4.3 or 4.4, 4.5 40. And so they drafted him. They can't catch, they can't get open, but because they're certain speed, they get drafted. And then they wonder why all these teams suck. Why is Tennessee the worst team? And then Indiana sucks and Jacksonville sucks. You can't even read Jacksonville, that Trevor Lawrence is terrible. And Tennessee just drafted Will Levis. And you're like, in the first round, what are you doing? He's terrible. Cleveland takes Deshaun Watson after he did all this sexual stuff and sign him to a guaranteed contract. You sign me to a guaranteed contract, I doubt I'm playing either. You're giving me what, $200 million guaranteed? Okay, I'll be in Hawaii for a few years. There's no incentive at that point. What you're doing is you're killing the incentive when you guarantee the contracts. There's nobody getting a guaranteed contract and possibly, play with passion, unless you happen to be a passionable player. And that's the problem with this whole NFL and this whole analytics. You're not measuring passion. That's why when I tell Nick, you can't really, he's trying to formula how to pick football games. And I'm like, you're going to miss the passion. You're going to miss, they must win. Their backs are against the wall. How the hell do you put that in a formula? You can't, but we can read it, right? They need to win the last two to make the playoffs. You can't put that in a formula. And if how would you? But you just see it and you go, okay, Kansas City needs to win to get the 1 seed. They got Mahomes. They're going to win. It's as simple as that. You can't formula it. So you can't read the passion and the outside things. Just like in the NBA, you must win or you're eliminated. Who was that yesterday? Orlando. We got it when we had Orlando in 9.5. They lost by 9. Indy beat Milwaukee. It was a terrible day. We had the Pistons, which lost. We had Minnesota that won. We had Orlando won, and they won by covering. And then we had Milwaukee, who is now down 3-1. So not a good day yesterday. Today we'll see. 2 games, Cleveland, Miami. Cleveland minus 8.5. Cleveland's up 3-0. Again, this is Miami has to win or they're swept. Cleveland won't be interested in the game. My guess is, Miami's so bad. Why is Miami in the playoffs at 37-45? So I think Cleveland sweeps them, and then Houston, Golden State. Golden State leads 2-1. They're laying 3.5. They blew out Houston in game 3, but this is now Houston needs the game. So again, how do you put that in a formula? Houston must win or they're down 3-1. So I don't really like the game. There's certain games you like and certain games you just don't like the matchup. T-Wolves is doing great. Minnesota, well, they lost yesterday to San Diego. Or did they win? Yeah, they got a good team. No, the Lakers. Didn't the Lakers win yesterday? Oh yeah, Minnesota did beat the Lakers. Were up 10. I had the Lakers, so I went with the Lakers. I had 5.5, I believe. So I hit the Lakers, I hit Orlando, and I lost Indiana. So that's where it gets a little dicey. They need the game, but there's only certain times that works that it's a good play. The right team has to need the game in the right scenario. Um, that was my big lock a couple years ago with Golden State. With when they were winning, they lost the first game. They had a big lead and they blew it, and they lost the first game. And then they had to win the second game or they're down 0-2. And they had the game and let it out, and that they were laying like 3, and that was a 50-star lock, and they won by like 30 because the team that won, I think it was Toronto, had already gotten their one win. All you want to do is split, right? So when you go, if you're the road team, the first 2 games are Golden State, you just want to get a split. So I think it was Cleveland or Toronto or somebody, and they got the split. They'd won the first game, so now here's the second game. And Golden State was so ripe, and they were only laying 3, and they won by 30 points. That's the type of backs against the wall you want to bet when you got a good team like that. So the Lakers were up, and they blew it. But yeah, Minnesota, well, they have a very good defense and apparently a very good offense. So I don't know the players, but I know. Well, that one guy came in here. He said he's Anthony somebody, and I go, "Are you Anthony Davis from USC?" I mean, I never heard of the guy, but I can't follow basketball anymore. It's too boring. I'm on the bike watching the Laker game at the club yesterday. Luka Doncic is terrible. He just plays one-on-one basketball. He dribbles the ball up. He dances around, and he shoots a three-pointer. He never passes the ball. All he does is take 3-point shot. This is the worst guy I've ever seen. And then they have to take him out when LeBron comes in because he won't pass to LeBron. This guy's terrible. He doesn't drive. He doesn't pass. He just shoots 3-pointers. LeBron, they say, is the best ever. Do you agree? No chance. No, not even close. Bird, much better. Kareem, much better. Magic, much better. Isaiah Thomas, better. Jordan, of course. And Wilt Chamberlain. I've been watching things on Wilt Chamberlain and Kareem. Nobody's close to Wilt Chamberlain. Nobody's close. He's by far the best. And Kareem's okay. Kareem totally dominated. They took the dunk out in college basketball because of Kareem. So he had to lay the ball in. He couldn't dunk it. Those guys are so much better than LeBron, especially now. LeBron plays, if you touch him, it's a foul. They take the second. I don't know who this is. They take like 4 steps. Everything's traveling. If you get close to somebody. What I don't like is there's instant replay and fouls. What is this? So a guy goes up. The guy hits the ball and then smacks him and knocks him down, and they do a review. And they say, no, he hit the ball first, so the foul isn't a foul. And I'm like, okay, I don't know what sport I'm watching, and I turned it off. There's no way LeBron is close. If he played in the 80s, he'd be Karl Malone. Big, strong guy. He can rebound. He can't really shoot that well. He drives because if you touch him, he gets a foul. But I don't know why people – that's sort of like saying Prime Junior is good. I mean, I don't know where people are getting LeBron's the best ever. I heard that. My stepfather said that Tiger Woods was the best ever. I laughed at him. I said, you ever hear of Jack Nicklaus? He was the best ever by a mile. Tiger Woods cannot hold a candle to Jack Nicklaus. Where are you getting that LeBron is the best ever? How can you even make that comment when Did you see him play against Larry Bird, Michael Jordan, Kareem, Wilt? Did you see it? No, you didn't. Did you see Jerry West play? I mean, it's such a stupid conversation to have. No offense to you, David, but it's such a stupid to say somebody who played now is the best who ever played, and you haven't seen Kareem. I'm sure you haven't seen Wilt, Jerry West. Yeah, you haven't. Then Dr. J. Have you seen Dr. J play? I mean, it's a joke. He's a average player. Like I said, if he was in the '80s, he'd be nothing. Karl Malone was better than him, right? Barkley, I mean, Elijah Wan, David Robinson. I mean, you can go on and on and on in the '80s. He couldn't even make the team. I mean, he'd be lucky to get any playing time. Larry Bird, you think he's better than Larry Bird, really? So, not a chance. And for all the people that say, well, I wasn't alive there, well, go fucking turn on YouTube and watch. They got the whole Laker Boston, they have the games on. They have Wilt Chamberlain games on. They have the game when Wilt Chamberlain on the Lakers was playing Kareem on Milwaukee. And I think Milwaukee broke the 32-game winning streak. Has LeBron had a 32-game winning streak? Yeah, I don't think so. Anyway, no, he's not. That's like saying Tom Brady's the best ever. And I would say it's Joe Montana. Joe Montana never lost a Super Bowl, never threw an interception in a Super Bowl. The only reason he would have been in 2 or 3 more, but the Giants kept hurting him. That was the Giants mentality. We're gonna hurt you. I mean, that one guy broke his hand, and Jim Burt knocked him out. But he was the best, as far as I could see, college and pro. I mean, he won a lot of big games for Notre Dame the way he won them. Brady didn't win anything at Michigan. He didn't even start. I mean, that's how, like, where did that come from? All right. What else? What else, kiddies? So let's look at baseball. We'll get back to the draft. I think the guy's name was Simon at Ohio State. I think it was their linebacker or their safety. Guy's great, makes all these plays. If I were to guess, Philadelphia probably picked him up. All right. Yesterday was a tough day. I hit the Yankees. I lost the Mets under 8. I hit Detroit. I lost Houston under 7.5. I hit Milwaukee. I lost Texas. I lost Atlanta under 8.5. I lost San Diego over 8.5. And I lost Toronto in the second game. I don't know what happened there. And then Philadelphia over 8 played I don't know, it was 1-1 in the 9th. I assume I didn't win. But it was the same theory. I'm betting pitching, and I'm trying to look at hitting. So let's look at that. So we got our new baseball counter, which I have to review today to switch. There's probably not a lot of switches, but there's guys who are starting to hit, who are big, like Lindor and Altuve weren't hitting, and now they're hitting 300. So I got to adjust. First game, not till 4:05. That's surprising. LeBron. So what you got to understand about me, David, is I don't listen to other people. Like, they say he's the best ever. Who's they? And I don't listen to theys. I listen to me. That's the stoic part of the class. Is you have strong conviction. You have you're smart. You're confident. You make up your own mind, and then you decide. So I don't listen to they say he's the best that ever did it. I don't want to. It's like them talking about inflation. It infuriates me. Oh, inflation is only 2 or 3%. I don't know what the hell they're talking about. In what world is inflation 3%? Oh, well, if we look at prices year over year, well, who says that's the way to look at inflation? Especially when it's printing the money and got nothing to do with prices. So I mean, that's kind of where I get off. It's like, you guys are idiots. And I say it. If you go into the comments on half these guys, I just rip them. Lynette Zhang was on Mark McGuire, and I just ripped him. I says, "Where'd you get this idiot from? Like, are you that desperate for a guest? Why don't you just talk, Mark? Because we want to really see you, not your stupid guest who none of them have any idea what the hell is going on." And I think he's just doing it to try to build viewers. Oh, we'll get Lynette's viewers. We'll get Andy Scheckman's viewers. And they're just clueless. Alligators clueless. All right. The Mets in Washington. Mets at 19-9. Off to a good start. Minus 170. The Mets 9.5. Games in Washington. Griffin Canning for the Mets 3-1 with the 3-1-2. Trevor Williams 1-2 with the 5-11. Washington's got 2 hitters and the Mets have 4. So we'll go with the Mets here. No bet. Just we're picking somebody. I'm not crazy about the over-under. Washington doesn't hit enough. Minnesota and Cleveland. Cleveland minus 125-8. Bailey over 2-1 with the 504 against Gavin Williams, 2-1 with the 415. 2 weak pitchers. Cleveland 4 hitters, Mini 1 hitter. Here's the problem, but that's not including Buxton. So let's say they have 2, and we'll see if they got better. So Cleveland should win, but I don't like the pitching. So we got to go over. But the problem with going over, and this is why they're so hard to pick, I don't have the hitting from Minnesota. I got 1 hitter. I got 5 hitters hitting under 200. How do I bet this game over with 5 hitters hitting under 200? That's the real problem. All right, the Yanks in Baltimore, good game. Yanks 17-11. Baltimore 10-17, got swept by Detroit. The only reason I know that is because I listened to the radio here on the way to swim. Yankees minus 135-9. Will Warren 1-0 with the 4.79 for the Yankees. Takamaka Sugnana 2-1 with the 3.54 for Baltimore. Baltimore didn't hit Detroit at all. They should hit this Will Warren. The Yankees got 4 hitters, and again, Aaron Judge was hitting over 400. And Baltimore is 3 hitters. So I'm going to go over in this game. Yanks over 9 because the pitching sucks. David, baseball is hard to bet, like you said. Well, the difference in baseball is it's all averages, as I said. Earned run average and batting average. So you can get a guy hitting 300, you can go for 4 in the game. You can get a guy hitting 150, and he gets 3 hits in the game. How do you calculate that out? You got a pitcher with a 1.0, and that there was a couple of games like that yesterday. Philly and the Cubs, the pitchers had terrible ERAs, and it was a 1-1 game in the 9th. So how do you factor that in? And it's because of the average. Probably what you need to do is look at Philly against the Cubs down the road if this pitcher pitched them, but there's so many changes. There's so many teams. I can do it in football. I can look at the Lions against the Bears, go back 10 games, and go, this is how they play them. But I can't really do that in baseball. The lineups change, the pitching changes. There's too many changes. So it's a very much this very static or non-static variables in it. Again, the key is variables in picking anything. So it's very difficult. I mean, you want to date a girl, look at all the variables that you get, well, my last girlfriend did this. Yeah, but the variables have changed, and now you get the new girlfriend. And you're used to the variables of the old girlfriend. And that's my problem with Daria. I mean, she goes up north with her girlfriend. She's got a dasha, as they call the cottages in Russian, but they don't have good internet. So she goes away for 4 or 5 days. I don't hear from her. Well, Jenna would tell me, I'm going here, I'm going there. I sent her to Berlin to see her friend. And when I sent her, she would, she'd contact me every day. And with Daria, she can't contact me up at the dasha. So I lose her for 5 days and I get where, but she doesn't tell me she's going up there. So I just don't hear from her for 5 days. So it's the same. It's the variables that you got to get with the people. And so the same thing here, baseball with the batting averages and earned run. So let's look at, the Yankees in Baltimore. I got a Will Warren with the 1-0 with the 4.79 ERA. He could throw a shutout today, or he could let up 8 runs in the first 2 innings. Look at the game yesterday, the Mets. We have the Mets under 8, 2 good pitchers with under 2 ERAs, and the Mets had 5 runs in the first inning. And the pitcher pitched, wait a minute, he's got a 1.8 ERA, and yet he gave up 5 runs in 1 inning, which is times it by 9 is a 45 ERA. So this is the problem. You kind of got to get matchups, but you don't have it, and then you kind of got to understand the variables. So it's extremely difficult. I had the Tigers picked pretty good because the pitcher was going, it's Suarez or whoever, and he's their ace, and Baltimore had a terrible pitcher. All I can do is bet that matchup, but again, it doesn't mean it's going to win, as you're saying, but that's why I look for that matchup. The ace against the 5th pitcher, that would be a very good way. Or when the 2 aces, like the Mets game goes, you expect a low scoring game. But then look at the Phillies and the Cubs. You had 2 shit pitchers go, and it was 1-1 in the 9th. How is that happening? So again, the expected outcomes, what I call it, is not there. I mean, you just don't know what the expected outcome is, and that's really the problem. So that's why it's hard. I get a better expected outcome in football. That I get the outcome I expect. It's once a week, where baseball's every day. The players are going to get tired. You don't know who he's sitting out. It's the worst managers I've ever seen. They'll have a 300 hitter and they'll pinch hit for him because apparently he's left-handed and only hits righties. And if they bring in a lefty, they don't let him face the lefties. So he's not a 300 hitter. He's a 300 hitter against righties, but he's not, he's no Willie Mays. He hit righties and lefties. So then you're ended up where they pinch hit him with the guy who's hitting 100 because he's right-handed and the pitcher they brought in is left-handed. So all of a sudden the right-handed pitcher, the left-handy comes in, you pull out your 300 hitter for a 100 because he obviously is terrible because if he hits 100 and he's only facing left-handers, he's got a problem because he's not even facing righties. So there's all these variables that you really don't know. You can only guess. That's why you can't bet a lot on it. You can only guess. I got lucky with Detroit yesterday. They won 7-0. And by the way, I noticed Detroit 7 runs every game almost. They had 7 the day before and an 8. They played a doubleheader. All right, so let's look at St. Louis, Cincinnati. St. Louis 12-16, Cincy 15-13. Not bad team. Cincy's a 120 favorite, 9.5. Where do they get that from? The pitching. Andre Palentine 2-1 with a 4.05 ERA against Nick Martinez for Cincinnati 0-3 with the 5.40 ERA. We look at the hitting. St. Louis has 4 hitters. Cincinnati's got 6 hitters. We should get run. We have good hitters. We have weak pitching. So the variables say, let's go Cincinnati over 9.5. Now you're only judging that. Are the 5 hitters the 6 hitters for Cincinnati, are they all going to play? Are they all like right-handed and we got a lefty, or are they all left-handers? Are they going to be in the lineup against this Nick Martinez guy who's 0-3 with the 5.40? So again, it's a little early in the year. We get more by June. We then they pitch 10, 15 games, and now their ERA is what their ERA is. But it's a lot of bad management, pinch hitting, 300 hitters for 100 because they're lefty or righty. They go to the bullpen way too much. The starter, Suarez for Detroit, had like 11 strikeouts, and he's got, he didn't pitch much, and then he gets to the 7th inning, and why doesn't the manager let him finish the game? Why does he need to pull him? They're not hitting him. He's got 11 strikeouts. Why do you pull the guy? So he doesn't hurt his arm? Really? He can't go 9 innings? Isn't it pitching? So he hadn't hit 100 pitches. And what happens? His arm falls off if he throws 120? Tell that to Nolan Ryan. He used to throw 200 pitches a game. Bob Gibson, Koufax, Steve Carlton, Roger Clemens. They threw a lot more than 100 pitches. That would be nothing. That'd just be the pregame. I mean, it's just insanity how bad the managers are, and that's in all sports. And I'm blaming analytics. Well, the third time through the lineup, 100 pitches. Analytics says 100. After 100, they give up more. It's a general statement that's full of bullshit. And yet the managers, he's at 98. We got to take him. Analytics says we got to take him out. Or a lefty righty. Well, analytics says this and that. The managers aren't managing. They're just reading these analytics, which are not proven to be correct. And it's ruining all the sports. It's ruining football with the 4th downs and the go for 2. And it's ruining basketball where you get more points for a 3-pointer. So let's everybody take a 3-point shot. What the fuck is that? Yeah, Detroit is playing good. Well, they're playing weak teams. They did good against Baltimore. San Diego beat them up pretty good. You don't know who's playing. They get days off too. Well, even if they're playing, the pitcher you're betting, the guy's got look at Verlander when he has a 1.0 ERA and he doesn't pitch the whole game. Maybe he goes 7 innings, and then you got to trust the bullpen. Or you got a pitcher with a 10 ERA, and if he's not pitching well, he only pitches the first 2 or 3 innings. So the 10 ERA is useless because you're not going to get 7, 8 innings with the guy giving up the 10 runs that you're expecting with the 10 ERA. That's the one that gets you the most. And then they got 25 bullpen guys, and they all come in and pitch 1 inning. So of course they're going to throw a shutout inning, and then they give up 5 runs, and you're like, what the fuck? And my favorite is when the manager puts the guy out in the save situation with the 10 ERA, and he blows the save. Like the guy with the 1 ERA who pitched the 8th inning should have probably pitched the 9th inning. Why would you bring out a pitcher with a 10 ERA? Thank you, David. Yeah, it's just really, really crazy. Okay, so Cincinnati. So let's go Oakland and Texas. Oakland's been playing well. They're 14-14. JP Sears 3-2 with a 3-2-1. 4-8-2-1. Don't these people know I'm teaching class? Oakland, Texas. So Oakland's 110-9. Over under 9. JP Sears 3-2 with a 3-2-1. Patrick Corbin 2-0 with a 3-7-7. Now, so here, what do you do with this game? You got both pitchers with the 3 ERA. They could shut you out or give up 7 runs. You have no idea how they make Oakland favored. I have no idea. Let's look at Oakland's got 4 hitters. Texas has 6. Texas can hit the ball. I'm going to go over because of that I just saw. Texas over 9. I got both pitchers with 3 ERAs. How good's the bullpen? And then which bullpen guys pitch? So you have your aces with 2 or 3 good pitchers. Are they going to pitch today? Oh, wait, they pitched yesterday. These other bullpen guys are going to pitch. I mean, I like that when Raleigh Fingers comes in, Raleigh Fingers is going to pitch every 9th inning. So I don't know. It's really difficult, which is why we don't bet a lot of baseball, but that's why we do bet in football, because we got our football down to a science. Detroit goes to Houston. Detroit, 6 hitters. Houston, 2 hitters. One of them's Altuve, the other I don't know. There might be a 3rd hitter who's starting to pick it up. Houston's actually favored. Joe Flaherty for Detroit, 1-2 with the 2.63 against Blanco. 2-2 with the 5.01. However, Blanco no hit Detroit last year. I remember that. I think he no-hit him for 8 innings, and the manager pulled him because, he's tired. He's pitched 100 pitches. Yeah, it's a no-hitter, but no. These managers are out of their fucking minds. They're just idiots. So I'm going to go under here. Houston under 7.5 because Detroit does not hit this guy. But it's a weird one I remember because I remembered he no-hit him, and I was all excited. And Flaherty's 263. Houston doesn't hit, so this should be 7. They should win. Somebody's going to win the game like 5-2 or 4-3. Detroit plays 7-run games like I've never seen. Atlanta, Colorado. At Colorado, a lot of runs in the softball stadium. Atlanta minus 170 and 10 total. Bryce Elder, 0-1 with the 5.57. Ryan Feltner, 0-1 with the 3.86. So we're going to go over here. We've got Elder with the 5.57. He's going to give up runs. And Feltner at 0-1 with the 3.86. So Atlanta's starting to hit the ball. Weak pitching tonight in Colorado. And it's easy to get 15 runs at Colorado is not hard. And with these pitchers, and they hit, let's see, Atlanta, 4 hitters. Colorado has 2 hitters. But Colorado's been playing a lot of road games. Everything switches in Colorado because it's just a softball diamond. So the hitting gets much better in Colorado. And the last game is Miami at the Dodgers. The Dodgers minus 275, 8.5. There's a problem with the bookies. They don't want action on the Dodgers, so they make it like 300, 3.25, so nobody bets the Dodgers. I don't blame them. I wouldn't either. And as we've talked, how hard it is to pick, that's the problem. 275, 8.5. Edward Cabrera for Miami, 0-1 with the 6.14. Dustin Bay, 1-1 with the 3.68. I got to go over here. LA over 8.5. Miami's got 7. Oh, okay. This will be our one play of the day. This will be 3 units. This is our only play. Now, why do I get excited here? Well, I get 8.5. The Dodgers have a small ballpark. Then I look at Miami, and Miami's got 7 hitters. And then I look at the Dodgers, and I know they got 4 hitters. But I have weak pitching. I got Miami's guys got a 6.14, and the Dodgers guys a 3.68. I should almost get 8 runs by the Dodgers at home. They'll hit 3 or 4 home runs. Who knows what the bullpen looks like? Also the travel. No, Miami was at San Diego yesterday, I believe. So they've already traveled. And that's baseball. So the only bet, take the Dodgers over 8.5. The pitching's weak. The hitting's strong. We should get there. Otherwise, it's the Mets, Cleveland over 8, the Yankees over 8, Cincy over 9.5, Texas over 9, Houston under 7.5, and Colorado over 10. The Yankees have not been hitting. They've got Baltimore with, they got 2 weak pitchers. They should be able to hit. I don't know. So that'd be basketball, that'd be baseball. NFL draft, we could talk a little bit more about that. So I don't like this Travis Hunter at all. Let's just look at positions. Let's look at edge first. Or could I do 2 of them? No, I can only do 1. It's funny, they have edge, they have defensive line, they have defensive end. So again, you got Abdul Carter to the Giants. The Giants got Scatterboo. Their only mistake is Jackson Dart, who's not a good quarterback, and they don't have a quarterback, and they've missed the position you have to draft. Abdul Carter is meaningless if you don't have a quarterback. He's one guy. Is he going to play every snap? He was good at Penn State. Is he going to be good in the NFL? Is he fast enough? 6'3", 259. Then they go to Mikael Williams. Oh, okay. An edge out of Georgia, goes to San Francisco. And this guy's a very good player. Frisco's more of a trying to be a defensive team. And so they've lost. They all got old at once. McCaffrey gets injured. Williams, the tackles, I think, retiring or he's old. Brock Purdy's good. I don't mind him. You lost Deebo Samuel. You still have Kittle. Ayuk was injured, so I don't know if he's going to be anything. And you lost some defense. So this is a good pick because Frisco wants to beat you with defense. James Pierce, Tennessee. This is a steal. He was outstanding at Tennessee. You couldn't move on Tennessee. They played great defense last year. Atlanta has Penix, so they need it. So it's a good pick. Then you got, as a rookie from Boston College, goes to Dallas. I don't know what Dallas needs a quarterback, but they won't face up to that they need a quarterback because Jerry Jones, being the owner and the general manager, all of a sudden he's not qualified to be the general manager. That's why Dallas doesn't make the playoffs, because they're using shit players like Dak Prescott. And he's not good. So it starts with the coach and it starts with the quarterback. Dallas has neither. Do they get a new coach? I don't remember. It doesn't, they're saying, oh, well, he's there with Micah Parsons. They have no quarterback. They're not going to be winning. They're going to run it down their throats because they can't do anything. JT Tumalula, Ohio State, he did nothing in what I was watching. Goes to Indy. Again, you need a coach. You need a quarterback. Nick Scroton, Eds A&M. Now, this guy was this is who Cincinnati should have taken. They took the wrong guy. The guy they took sucks. This guy's better. Carolina. Okay, Carolina, you need a coach. You need a quarterback. You need balanced offense. An edge isn't what you need, although you have a shitty defense. Oladipo, edge from UCLA, goes to Tennessee. Again, you need a coach and a quarterback. I don't know who their coach is. They got rid of Vrabel, which was a stupid move. But there's, are you going to bet him because Oladipo in the second round from UCLA? Yeah, he's probably pretty good. He'll probably help. He'll probably make the team. Again, the thing you got to realize is you've got, like here, Mike Green and edge from Marshall. Is he gonna make the team? Is he gonna ever get on the field? Baltimore's got a pretty good defense, and the guys on the defense are not going to let this guy take their jobs. This is the difference in the NFL. So I'm making $5 million and I'm the starter edge, and then you draft this Mike Green guy. I'm not going to let him beat me out, and then I lose my paycheck and I lose my job. There's no fucking way I'm letting that happen. So this is the other part of the coin that you have to realize. On these better teams, Baltimore, Buffalo, Kansas City, it's very hard to even make the team. You're just going to be a backup for a while. London Jackson, edge from Arkansas, never heard of him. The Buffalo, third round, probably just a guy on special teams. Prince Umanilina, edge from Ole Miss. Ole Miss had some really good defense I watched last year. I don't know if this guy's one of them. Goes to Carolina. So they've drafted two edges, Carolina. This guy, I don't know. To me, he's better than the first guy they drafted. Jordan Birch, edge from Oregon. For Arizona, okay, Arizona's weak defensively. He can probably get in the rotation. Jack Sawyer, Ohio State, was their captain. Goes to Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh, so he'll be a good backup at Pittsburgh. You got T.J. Watt there; he ain't beating him out. And you got that great defensive tackle from Oregon as your first pick. So that's what you're seeing. So he'll probably be special teams, be a good backup if there's injuries. Will he start? No. Brandon Swinson, edge from LSU. Look at these. All these edges are on these good teams, right? Ohio State, LSU, Mississippi. He'll be good. New England, they suck. He'll probably start at New England because they don't have any talent. So anybody he brings in is going to be good. But if you're at the better teams, these drafts are just a waste of time. And that's it. All right, so let's go to quarterback. So Cam Ward, nothing. Going to Tennessee. They'll start him, and he shouldn't have. He's not ready. He's not that good. Watch his Washington State tape. Don't look at Miami, who ran a wide open offense, and go, "Oh, yeah," but he lost to Syracuse and he lost a couple of games. Not all that. He's no Daniels or Penix. Jackson Dart goes to the Giants. You're shaking your head. What are the Giants doing? With all the quarterbacks they could have had, this is not the answer. And what I'm saying is they could have had Penix last year and they kept Daniel Jones, and now they're in the hole here, and Dart's not their answer. He's no better than Daniel Jones. Tyler Shaw goes to New Orleans. You got Jake Haener. I'm not quite sure what's going on here. He's okay. Jalen Milroe going to Seattle has to be the worst pick in the draft. What are you doing? You've got whatchamacallit. You've got the guy from the Vikings starting for you, who, good luck with him. We saw him against the Lions. We saw him in the playoffs. Didn't show up. I don't think Seattle goes 500. I think the coach is terrible. The GM looks like an idiot. Why would you draft this guy? You're going to play him at running back, but we already got running backs at Seattle. We got the guy from Michigan State, and we got the guy from was that Michigan, UCLA. So they don't need running backs, and this guy is not better than what's his name on Seattle. I can't think of his name. That's Sam Darnold. Okay, he can't beat out Sam Darnold. Why are you wasting a pick on him? Dylan Gabriel goes to Cleveland. That's their starter. He'll come in and start because they don't have anybody. That's the only time the draft makes sense, is when you draft a guy. You draft a first rounder in the third round, so it's excellent, and you get a guy and you don't have a quarterback. You got Joe Flacco, really? Or is Winston on Cleveland? I don't know where Winston went, or is he on the Jets or wherever. Here's your starter for 10 years. So you're all set. Prime Junior, the next pick, fifth round. So this third round, and the fifth round, you pick in Prime. You're wasting a fifth round pick on this idiot. He's third stringer at best. He shouldn't even make the team. He's a project. Well, what are you drafting this guy for? Because you had to, like Alex is saying. I mean, it's ridiculous. That's a terrible pick. This is even stupider. Kyle McCord, Syracuse. Oh, yeah, by the way, he was at Ohio State, and he was so bad he had to transfer. He lost his job to Will Howard. If he was that good, they wouldn't have brought in Will Howard. Terrible pick here. And then here comes Will Howard. So with the fifth pick in the sixth round, they take Kyle McCord, and they could have had Will Howard, who went in the ninth pick. Now the Steelers have their starting quarterback. They're all set. If they happen to get Aaron Rodgers, well, then he's going to sit on the bench. But if they don't, this is your starter. There you go. Very good quarterback. The sixth round of the next pick, Riley Leonard. See, now my confusion is all these good quarterbacks, Riley Leonard and Howard, why are they going in the sixth round? And why are all these offensive and all these linemen going in the first three rounds? What are they doing? They're not picking properly. From what they got, Riley Leonard should have been picked higher. If Indy wanted him, they should have got him in the second round. In Pittsburgh, this should have been their first round pick, Will Howard, or second round at worst. Dylan Gabriel in the third round. What is going on here? These are key positions that you can't wait on. And then you take Jackson Dart in the first round. What is that? That's analytics. Well, he's fast. He's the quarterback. I don't want fast. I want accurate. I want a guy who can throw the ball on a 30-yard out. And that sure as shit isn't Jackson Dart. So here's Will Howard. He's the Steelers' starting quarterback. They pick him up in the sixth round. Why is he even there in the sixth round? Because all these GMs have their heads up their ass. They don't know what they're doing. So they're drafting special teams players in the third, fourth, fifth round instead of the quarterback, which is the key position. Do you think the Giants are going to beat Philadelphia with Jackson Dart? How many times is he going to get sacked in the game? Washington has Daniels. They need some of these edge rushers. I don't know. Washington didn't do a good job, I think. But anyway, why is Leonard and Will Howard going in the sixth round when they should be second rounders? Graham Mertz going to Houston. Alex, what the fuck is this? This guy is not a good quarterback at all. What are they seeing in this guy? He sucked at Wisconsin. He sucked at Florida. Are you out of your mind getting this guy and again in the sixth round? This is not a draftable player. This guy shouldn't have been drafted. Kyle McCord shouldn't have been drafted. What do they show you? They're failures at their. He sucked at Wisconsin. He goes to Florida and he sucks. And McCord sucked at Ohio State. Didn't show up in the Michigan games or the Penn State games. What do you think's going to happen when they? This is the NFL. He's not getting better than he did at college. He had a good year at Syracuse. Oh yeah, really? And then we got Tommy Mellott and Cam Miller going to the Raiders in the sixth round. Picks 37 and 39. Oakland, who needs, God knows they need defense. They did draft some linemen, maybe a running back. The quarterback, Alex, told us about. What's his name? Seth Hennigan. Seth Hennigan's a mile better than both these guys. They could get Sam Hartman, who was last year at Notre Dame, and he was great at Wake Forest. They could have got him. What are they doing? And then here's Curtis Rourke in the seventh round, who's better than Cam Miller and Tommy Mellott by a mile. If Oakland wants to do a Tommy Mellott or a Cam Miller, then they should have done a Curtis Rourke. Indiana won 11 games last year. I mean, they only lost to Ohio State, and it had nothing to do with him. He was pretty good in the game. So again, what are you doing? Why are you not? And Frisco's got their backup now for Brock Purdy. Quinn Ewers goes to Miami, and I was asked, what do I think of him? After watching Texas, Arizona State, Texas, Ohio State, Texas, Georgia, the guy sucks. He's a turnover machine. You put pressure on him, he threw a bunch of interceptions and some fumbles. Don't like this guy at all. Buffalo will just eat him up. I don't know what the Jets don't have a defense. New England doesn't have a defense. But when he gets in against good defense, the Denver, San Diego, they'll eat him for lunch. Is he better than Tag? Possibly. Tag's not very good. Again, he's a analytic quarterback. Only he's one that can't run. So I don't know how he got drafted in with the fourth pick in the draft. Oh, he went to Alabama. Yeah, I'm sorry. So let's look at all right, we'll look at running backs, and then we're going to look at teams. And I know I'm going to do an AFC and an NFC draft, but I'll do that later tonight or something. So we start with Ashton Gentry going to Oakland. That makes sense. As bad as the quarterback draft was, the running back was good. San Diego gets Mario Hampton. I'm not sold on this guy, but did they need a running back? I don't know. They let these guys go. I don't know. Cleveland takes the wrong running back from Ohio State. They get Quinton Jenkins, the guy who was from Ole Miss, transferred to Ohio State. I don't know what he's doing. He's okay. He's nothing special. And then Travion Henderson, who was the better running back, goes to New England. So what's Cleveland doing? They could have had Travion Henderson. I'm not sold that both these running backs are any good. They didn't really do much. They had good playoffs, but where were they against Michigan again? RJ Harvey going to Denver from UCF. I like this. He'll give them a good balance. Caleb Johnson going to Pitt. What a beautiful draft Pitt has. Now they got Will Howard, the quarterback, Caleb Johnson, the running back. They pick up a defensive tackle. So they get 3 or 4 starters in this. This guy's third round should never have gone. He should have gone way before the third round. Bayshore Tootin from Virginia Tech, I have no idea about, but that's Jacksonville, right? They get a guy who I don't have him on my list. That means he wasn't part of, let's see. What I do is I take the top 10 runners, and he's not there. Rivers, Georgia Tech, Warren, BU. Oh, no, wait, running back. Yeah, he's not in the top 10. Gentry, Scatterboo, Neal, Johnson, Brooks, Sampson, Hampton, Harvey, Daly, Stewart. So he's not even in there. So I don't know where you're picking this guy up. Yeah, that'll solve your problem. Your problem's still the coach and Trevor Lawrence. You haven't fixed your problem. Scatterboo goes to the Giants in the 4th round. So what's Jacksonville doing? They could have had Scatterboo. Pittsburgh got Caleb Johnson, could have had Scatterboo. Denver could have had Scatterboo. Scatterboo I like because he's a power runner. He's going to get you 3rd and 2, and he's going to get you goal line. He's going to score for you. Now, is he good on the Giants? The problem is they don't have a quarterback, and they'll just key on him. I don't know that he's going to do, you don't have receivers. You got the one guy from LSU, Neighbors or whatever, but you don't have a quarterback. So I don't know that I'd go after a running back until I get a quarterback. Trevor Etienne from Georgia goes to Carolina. He was not that good. He was hurt a lot. Don't like it. Woody Marks, USC, goes to Houston. He's a scat back. He's not a power back. I don't know. Jaquez Sunner from Auburn goes to the Rams. I didn't realize Auburn had good runners. Dylan Sampson goes to Tennessee. See, that I like. So Tennessee gets the kid from Ohio State, the wrong kid, and then they get Sampson, who's better than the kid from Ohio State. Sampson's a good hard nose. He'll get you touchdowns. He's a good red zone. So with Dylan Gabriel and Sampson in there, they have a pretty good offense. I got to check their receivers. And then their defense is, you've got Myles Garrett and you've added the other guy. Let's look at Cleveland's draft. Jordan James from Oregon, great pick. 5th round. What is he doing on the board in the 5th round? Jordan James from Oregon. Jesus Christ, you got to be kidding me. Jaden Blue, Texas, goes to Dallas. He looked pretty good in the playoff game. What is he doing being around in the 5th round? See, this is the problem. These guys should never be here in the 5th round. And yet the 2nd and 3rd rounders they drafted Let's go through the second and third round draft and compare it to these guys, and you're like, it's a joke. DJ Giddens, Kansas State, goes to Indy. Questionable. Ollie Gordon, boy, did he fall off. He was the best runner 2 years ago. We bet on him all the time, and you couldn't even tackle him, and last year he sucked. Miami's taking him. You got Tagovailoa and Tyreek Hill. I don't know what you're doing. Devin Neal goes in the 6th round. This guy's a second rounder to the Saints. What is going on here? This guy's not a 6th round draft pick. Khalil Mullins from Michigan is probably not a 6th round draft pick either. He's probably a 3rd rounder. Goes to Tennessee. Tennessee, I don't know that. And then the biggest steal of the draft is Tajee Brooks from Texas Tech, goes to Cincinnati in the 6th round, the 17th pick. Are you fucking kidding me? That's a joke. This guy is a very good running back. Cincinnati gets a steal here. Damian Martinez goes to Seattle. I'm not clear on him. Miami had a good offense. I thought it was all Cam Ward. And we're still there. Brashard Smith goes to Kansas City from SMU. I don't know him. He probably can catch the ball to the backfield. And Kyle Managi from Rutgers goes to the Bears in the 7th round. He was okay. Oh, wait, we're not done. The Quint Allen, running back, Syracuse, goes to Jacksonville. Keeps taking the wrong players. Phil Maffa, running back out of Clemson, goes to Dallas in the 7th round. Clemson doesn't have running, so I don't know what that was. But you see the guys in the 6th or 7th round. All right, let's go to the 2nd round. Now, I just gave you Tajee Brooks and Will Howard. These guys went in the 5th, 6th round. All right, all these running backs that were good. Let's see who went in the 2nd round. Sorry, need some water. All right. So round 2. Scatterbrew's available. Howard's available. Riley Leonard's available. A few other running backs are available. All right, I don't mind Carson Schwarzenegger, linebacker, UCLA. All right. Jaden Higgins, running a wide receiver, Iowa State. That's a problem. Nick Emerori, safety from South Carolina, goes to Seattle. And you could have had all the running backs and quarterbacks I just told you. Quinson Jenkins goes to Cleveland. He's okay. And then, all right, Jonah Savalina, offensive guard, Arizona, goes to Miami. Or you could have had Will Howard, or you could have had Scatterboo. You could have had one of these good running backs. You take a guard who will never see the field. Travion Henderson goes to New England. All right, he's a good running back. Luther Burden III goes to the Bears, wide receiver, Missouri. I got no problem with that. Tyler Shaw, he was not that strong of a quarterback. Jackson Dart should not have been a first rounder. This guy should not have been a second rounder. TJ Sanders, defensive tackle, South Carolina, goes to Buffalo. This is my point. They're taking the defensive tackles and the safeties instead of the running backs and the quarterbacks. All right, Buffalo probably need help on defense because they gotta try to beat Mahomes, but this isn't going to help. Mason Taylor, a tight end from LSU, goes to the Jets. We know the Jets need running backs. We know they need quarterbacks. Who's their quarterback? Fields. So the Jets, they got a new head coach who's not good. They need a quarterback. They need running backs. They get a tight end from LSU. What the fuck are you doing? San Francisco, Alfred Collins, defensive tackle from Texas. Again, this is analytics. Why are you drafting a defensive tackle when you end up getting the quarterback from Indiana in the 7th round? I'm not saying he was a second round pick, but what are you doing with this guy? Then Dallas gets the edge Ezeranka from Boston College. What are you doing? You need a running back, and you need a quarterback. JT Timolula, edge from Ohio State, goes to Indy. All right, you have Jonathan Taylor. You need a quarterback. Terrence Ferguson, a tight end from Oregon, goes to the Rams. And then you take some running back in the 6th round. Will Johnson, cornerback of Michigan. He doesn't like to play. He's a loser. Goes to Arizona. Arizona needs running. You've got a quarterback and now they took a lot of defense. Okay, but let's see what it translates to. Iraoanti Ezere, offensive tackle, Minnesota, goes to Houston. You could have used Cam Scatterboo. You could have used some other receiver. Well, it wasn't big for receivers, but what are you doing here, fellas? This is a guy you could get in the 5th round. And then that's why everything's dumped. You got all these offensive linemen. Here's a defensive lineman from South Carolina. Demetrius Knight goes to Cincinnati. Well, wait a minute. We had about 5 picks earlier. So Buffalo takes TJ Sanders, pick 9, defensive tackle from South Carolina. And now you've got Cincinnati taking a defensive lineman from Cincinnati. How many? I didn't realize, or South Carolina. I didn't realize they had that kind of defense, but they have 2 second rounders in their D line, really, and they didn't win the SEC. So you're sitting there like, what the fuck is going on here? Granted, Cincinnati needs defensive help. You got Joe Burrow and Chase. They got lucky. They got Tajee Brooks in the 7th round, but Tajee Brooks should have been the pick here. 2nd round, pick 17 should be Tajee Brooks, not the second defensive lineman from South Carolina. We didn't have that great of a defense. Arroyo, tight end from Miami. Again, you're taking tight ends in the 2nd round. Nick Scorin, an edge from A&M, goes to Carolina. He was actually the better edge than the guy in the 1st round who went to Cincinnati. Give Carolina a little, help on, the problem is these guys start on Carolina where they're backups on better teams. And this is the problem here. So Nick Scorin, all right, probably a good pick for Carolina. They still need a quarterback, a coach, a running back. Uh, Odaji, an edge from UCLA, goes to Tennessee. Another defensive lineman. They do not go in the second round. Benjamin Morrison, cornerback from Notre Dame, goes to Tampa. Tampa needs running. They got a quarterback. They got some receivers if they're back. They do need some defense. Not in the second round. Anthony Belton, offensive tackle, NC State, goes to Green Bay. I mean, this is a fucking joke. What is this? San Diego, Trey Harris, wide receiver, Mississippi. This is not a stacked wide receiver draft. Okay, maybe he's good, but I'm not wasting a second round pick on this guy. Ozzie Trapulo, offensive tackle of the Boston College, goes to the Bears. Are you fucking kidding me? Oh my God, this is like a joke. Tate Radledge, offensive lineman, Georgia, goes to Detroit. Why are all these offensive linemen going in the second round and the first and second, and none of the running backs or quarterbacks? Dylan Gabriel, Will Howard, who else? Curtis Rourke. Those three should have went here, and Scatterboo Neal, who went in the sixth round. Why aren't you picking that guy up? Maybe the Lions don't need him, but the Bears and a few other teams do. Jack Beach goes wide receiver TCU to Oakland. I don't know. He's nothing special. Mike Green, the edge from Marshall, goes to Baltimore. All right, they got Derrick Henry. They picked up Cooper Rush as quarterback, and they got okay, they need help on defense. They need help on offense. That's why they lost to Buffalo. Denver, RJ Harvey, running back, UCF. Okay, I would have rather had Scatterboo, but okay. Trey Amos, cornerback from Ole Miss to Washington. Washington still needs a running back to complement Daniels, and they need defense if they're going to beat Philadelphia. The Bears, Shermer Turner from A&M, terrible pick. What is the fucking point of this guy? I guess he's the linebacker, defensive end. But A&M isn't the defensive school you go after. Omar Lott goes to defensive tackle from Tennessee, goes to Kansas City. I would have taken Scatterboo in the first round, and I would have taken him in the second round. That completes KC, the power runner with Mahomes and Kelsey and whoever else. Or maybe you take a receiver, defensive tackle from Tennessee. Now, I'm sure he's good. Tennessee had an outstanding defense, so I can let this go. But you've got to be kidding. Andrew Makuba, cornerback, Texas, goes to Philadelphia. They got Barkley, so I excuse them. And then let's look at round 3. Knowing the players taken in round 6 and 7, who are much better and are going to help the team much more than these clowns. So let's take a look at it. Round 3, the Giants with a incredible pick, a Darius Alexander, defensive tackle for Toledo. Are you sure Scatterboo is going to be on the board for you in the 4th round? This guy will probably be free agent at the end of the draft. Defensive tackle from Toledo. Toledo, not Tennessee, not Ole Miss, not Georgia. Toledo. Okay. Then KC takes Ashton Gillard, a defensive lineman from Louisville. So what's KC telling us? That they didn't sign their defensive lineman because they paid Kelsey and Mahomes too much money, and therefore they don't have defense, and so they got to draft a bunch. Still, I could have taken Scatterboo here. You can always get an Ashton Gillard, defensive lineman from Louisville, in the 6th round, in the 7th round. Harold Fanning, tight end, Bowling Green to Cleveland. Now, they took the running back. I would have taken Gabriel here. Fanning, now Fanning was the best receiver in college football. He had 1,700 yards. He was number 1 by a mile, way over Hunter. So it's a good pick. So you've got the running back, you got 2 running backs, Cleveland, 1.5 quarterbacks, and then this tight end. So you've got pretty good offense, and you have Myles Garrett, and you added a good defensive tackle from I think that was Oregon, or no, it was Pittsburgh. You added another good defense, so you actually might be competitive next year. But a lot of your players are young, and will they fit in? And will they even, will they start? Are they any good in the pros? Oakland, Darian Porter, cornerback, Iowa State. You could have any of these running backs. You could have drafted the quarterback, Will Howard, Dylan Gabriel, Curtis Rourke, and you take 2 Division II quarterbacks. You still could have had Curtis Rourke picked by the Niners in the next round or 5 picks later. What the fuck are you doing? It's terrible. Like, what is going on here? Kyle Williams, wide receiver, Washington State to New England. I don't get it. Isaac Tesla, wide receiver, Arkansas to Detroit. Oh, what the fuck is this pick? They need defense. They don't need a 4-string wide receiver from Arkansas who caught 20 passes. Yeah. New Orleans, Vernon Broughton, defensive line. This is the 3rd defensive lineman from Texas. They had a good defense, but come on. Again, you took Tyler Shaw. You could have got a running back here. Buffalo, London Jackson, edge from Arkansas. Okay, really? The Jets, Azaria Thomas, cornerback, Florida State. What the fuck's going on? Look at these picks. These are guys you can take in the 6th round easily. Cornerback from Florida State who didn't even have a good defense last year. I'm surprised Uglia Buglia didn't get drafted. So you have that. Denver, Pat Bryan, wide receiver, Illinois. You could have had Scatterboo. Frisco, Nick Martin, defensive lineman, Oklahoma State. So look how they're drafting all these defensive linemen, cornerbacks, tight ends in the 2nd and 3rd round. Why aren't they drafting the quarterbacks and the running backs? This is very disturbing because those are your key players. Look at the Giants with Daniel Jones. They won, 2 games a year? Minnesota with Kirk Cousins. I mean, they were nothing. You got Minnesota with Sam Darnold last year, who was nothing. What are you doing? What are you doing, fellas? So it's this is where analytics fucks all the sports up, right? In basketball, it's all 3-point shot. Well, I got Kareem and Wilt. They can dunk the ball. Maybe they like 95% that they're going to make it versus a 3-point shot. Baseball, I don't know what it is. There's very few 300 hitters. And the pitchers all, I can only pitch 50 pitches. I might get hurt. And then in football, what are you drafting all these defensive linemen and cornerbacks in the 2nd, 3rd round? Okay, I can understand the stud in the 1st round, the defensive lineman from Oregon that Pittsburgh took. Okay, he's a 1st rounder. That's it. There's 5 or 6 of those guys in the draft. This guy, Nick Martin, defensive lineman, Oklahoma State. Will we ever hear his name called in the game? Never. Will he make the team? Doubtful. Unbelievable. Hey, Nick. Raiders got the wrong quarterback. Plural. Thought they did well overall, though. Well, Gentry was good. The defense, okay. Like I say, it's when they took him. Why didn't they take Curtis Rourke from Indiana, who went after the 2 idiots from the Division II? Okay, take 1 idiot from the Division II and Curtis Rourke. Curtis Rourke led Indiana. They won like 11, 12 games. It's the best team they've had in 20 years, and you didn't take the quarterback. There was nothing wrong with Curtis Rourke. He was a damn good quarterback. They didn't lose because of him. They lost to Ohio State because of the rain, and then they played Penn State or somebody. in that playoff game in the rain or something, but he's fine. All right. Dallas, Shavon Revel, cornerback, East Carolina. Again, what's with the cornerbacks and defensive linemen in the third round? Carolina, Prince Shumanana, edge from Old Miss. So again, another Old Miss guy. They had a great defense. I don't mind that. Tennessee, same thing. He's probably pretty good. Goes to Carolina. Carolina needs everything. They still need a quarterback. They're not addressing that. Arizona, Jordan Birch, edge from Oregon. Everybody's taking an edge. What is this? Houston, Jalen Noel, another wide receiver. They took 2 wide receivers from Iowa State in the same round. I don't know about that. Justin Wiley, defensive back from Minnesota, goes to Indiana. Dylan Fairchild, offensive lineman, Georgia, goes to Cincinnati. It's not that they drafted him, it's they're drafting him in the second and third round. And you're letting guys like Dylan Sampson and Scadaboo and Tajee Brooks. Tajee Brooks goes in the 7th round, and Dylan Fairchild is an offensive lineman from Georgia, goes in the 3rd round to Cincinnati. And they needed running backs. They just got lucky. They got Tajee Brooks in the 7th round. They should have got him in the 3rd round. That's what's screwy is the running backs, which is the key player, by the way. Look at Barkley for Philadelphia. He won him the Super Bowl because he beat Washington and he won the playoff games. That's the key player that you have. You got to help your quarterback with balance so the defense doesn't know how to play you. Well, that's Dylan Fairchild, an offensive lineman from Georgia, is not going to help Cincinnati. Now, granted, Cincinnati needed help on the offensive line. I don't mind it because you got Burrow and you got Chase. So any help on the offensive line, but you needed running back because you needed balance. So they got lucky. Tajee Brooks will start. He's the best 7th rounder in the draft. What the fuck is he going in the 7th round for? All right. Tennessee, Kevin Winston, a safety from Penn State. See, a 3rd round. Is he going to make the team? He might make it because it's Tennessee, but he shouldn't, what are you doing drafting this guy in the 3rd round? Now Pittsburgh gets Caleb Johnson, running back Iowa, 3rd round, pick 19. That's the only one that makes sense in the whole 3rd round. Okay. That was a great pick. They still could have had Scadaboo. Jacob Parris, cornerback, Kansas State, goes to Tampa Bay. What the Noah Williams, defensive back, California, goes to Kansas City. So Kansas City basically has to revamp their defense, which is what they're doing. Vegas also got UNLV quarterback, undrafted, decent dual threat. Well, the only problem is you only played 1 year. The other guy, they didn't pay him in his NIL deal, and so he quit the team because they weren't going to pay him. I believe his name is Williams, and he was pretty good for Vegas. He had trouble against Boise, but he wasn't bad. But the Raiders blew it where they could have had they could have had Gabriel a couple times, or then Will Howard would have started. Geno Smith wasn't any good. And just the fact, what kills me is the fact he played in the league. They think, what, do you think he can play? He can't play. He's not a good quarterback. Seattle didn't make the playoffs. They had DK Metcalf. What the fuck's he going to do here? Did Oakland get a good receiver? We'll take a look at Oakland. Then we get San Diego, Jameer Caldwell, defensive lineman from Oregon. Green Bay, Savion Williams takes another receiver from TCU. The Green Bay's got like 5 receivers, don't they? Or did I miss something? Did they all free agent out? Jacksonville, safety from Tulane, Caleb Renshaw. Jacksonville, offensive tackle, West Virginia. One team that needs quarterback and receiver and running back is Jacksonville. The Rams, Joshua Stewart, Michigan. I don't know. what he is, 6'1". I think he's a linebacker type. Emory Jones, Baltimore, offensive tackle, LSU. They could use a running back. We know they need a quarterback. And then the best pick in the draft, Seattle takes Milrose, quarterback, Alabama, who will never see if he sees the field. I don't know if we can bet enough against Seattle when they do. This guy's terrible. He's a good runner. Yeah. Okay. But he's not a good thrower. Alabama sucked last year. He threw a ton of interceptions. And you're drafting this guy in the 3rd round. I could see if it was Oakland in the 6th round drafting him as a joke, but Seattle, all right, you got Sam Darnold, so you're stupid enough to take him. And now so what? Darnold starts throwing interceptions. You're going to bring in Milrose? And what's he going to do? Throw more interceptions? Or he's going to run around? How many games is he going to win you? 0? What a terrible pick. Of all the quarterbacks out there, you could have had Dylan Gabriel, you could have Will Howard, you could have had Curtis Rourke. You take this guy? Oh my God. They're comparing him to Jalen Hurts, like Jalen Hurts is attributes. He's got a strong arm and he's got a rocket, whatever that means. All right, first of all, he doesn't have a howitzer and he can't throw to the right team. Jesus Christ. New Orleans, Jonas Sanker, DB, Virginia, with all their problems. Finally, Cleveland gets Dylan Gabriel. So, okay. Seattle could have had Dylan Gabriel and they took Milrose instead. What the fucker is Seattle? Seattle is clueless. We are going to bet a ton against them this year. New England gets a center from Georgia. What are they doing? Atlanta gets Xavier Watts from Notre Dame. I was watching the Notre Dame-Ohio State game. He had a good play. I think you got to pick. Houston, another USC guy, defensive back. What are they doing? Oakland, Caleb Rogers, O-lineman, Texas Tech. Yeah. Oakland, look what Oakland. They took 2 quarterbacks in a row who were from nobody. Then they get a offensive lineman from Texas Tech. And the next pick's theirs. They take a guy, offensive tackle from William and Mary. Think he's any good? You'd like to see him go up against the Ohio State, Tennessee, Texas, Old Miss guys. Let's see how he would do from Bill and Mary. Are you fucking kidding me? Oh, my God. Frisco, Upton Stout, DB, Western Kentucky. Denver, Salvion Jones, defensive lineman, LSU. The only reason I like this, but she's from LSU. Minnesota, Ty Felton, wide receiver out of Maryland. What is this? That's the 3rd round. So let's look at our Raiders, as everybody is a Raider fan. All right, so let's review the Raiders. We just saw a lot of them. Austin Gentry, good pick. Best running back in the draft. Jack Beck, wide receiver, TCU. You got Geno Smith. I don't know. Darian Porter, cornerback, Iowa State. The only problem I have is this is round 3. I don't know what you're doing, but okay, you need defense. You got to help. You got to help Crosby. Next pick, Caleb Rogers, offensive lineman, Texas Tech. Okay, let's give credit that you need offensive linemen. Charles Grant, offensive tackle, he won't even make the team because you already have 5 or 6 offensive linemen there. I don't think offensive line is your problem. Your problem was your quarterback. Who was your quarterback? And I think the quarterback they let go, Minshew, was better than what they got now. But you can't add 2 offensive linemen to your team because you have 6, 7 guys that are already there that aren't going to let you take their jobs. So the second draft is a waste of time. You don't have room for them. Then you go to Dante Thornton from Tennessee, who's not really good, but he's fast, but he can't catch. Then you have Tonka Hemingway, a defensive lineman, South Carolina. Okay, to help Crosby, but is this guy going to make the team? Well, okay, and then the next pick in the sixth round, JJ Pegasus, defensive tackle, Mississippi. Well, they're both not going to make the team. You got Crosby, so really you're looking for a defensive end, a defensive line and a defensive tackle. Then you get the wonderful quarterbacks, Tommy Millett and Cam Miller, really. Then you get Cody Lindbergh, another defensive lineman from Minnesota. So wait a minute. You've added 3 defensive linemen from the 6th and 7th round. Do you seriously think any of them can make the team, more or less get in the game? What did you have before that you got 3 6th and 7th round linemen are going to jump in and make your team, are going to start, are going to be in the rotation? Really? Then the GM needs to be fired a long time ago. If that's what you have, and that's my problem with the Lions. Their defense sucks, and they didn't do anything to help it. All right, so Dante Thornton, wide receiver 10. Who the hell knows? 6'5", 214. He's a possession receiver. Tennessee didn't really do much offensively last year. And, oh, yeah, they didn't score against Ohio State. Your tackle from William and Mary, thanks for stepping in the locker room. We'll see you later. Don't let the door hit your ass on the way out. Porter, cornerback, Iowa State. Maybe, see, that's at least a little, we're adding some secondary help. This Jack Beck, you got Brock Bowers. Remember that. This guy won't catch 5 passes because I'm throwing to Brock Bowers. I'm sorry, guys. And Austin Gentry gives you balance. Now, your problem's Geno Smith, but you do have Coach Pete, so let's not forget that. The best draft, let's see how Atlanta finished. So Atlanta gets the best edge in the draft, Jalen Walker from Georgia. And then they add it with the second best, James Pierce, edge from Tennessee. How many edges are there? So you've taken the 2 best in the first round. These guys taken in the 3rd, 4th rounds, they're not any good. I mean, they're decent, but they're not going to make a difference. These 2 will help Atlanta get into the championship game because they have Michael Penix. It's going to be Michael Penix against Jalen Daniels. Maybe Philly, but if now they can stop Barkley with these guys. They get Xavier Watts, safety out of Notre Dame, good pick. Their defense is set now, and Penix, look out. They got the running back from Texas and some receivers. So and then they had a safety from Oklahoma, Billy Bowman. Okay. Jack Nelson, offensive line from Wisconsin, round 7, perfect time to take your offensive lineman. If you started at Wisconsin, it's a perfect pick. So I give Atlanta an A+, because you already have Penix and Robinson from Texas as the running back. And then we go to we talked a lot. Okay, let's go to let's see what Washington did for Daniels. They added an offensive tackle in the first round, which but it's Daniels, so give him help. Trey Amos, cornerback, Ole Miss. I like this because they need help on defense to play Philadelphia. Jalen Lane, wide receiver, Virginia Tech. I don't like. Virginia Tech didn't have that kind of offense. Kale Medrano, defensive line, UCLA, round 6. Is he going to help you against Philadelphia? I don't know. Ja'Cory Crossett and Merritt. H-back from Arizona in the 7th round. So they didn't have many draft picks. This guy, he won't make the team. The UCLA guy probably is not going to help you. The wide receiver, he'll be the 4th receiver at best. Okay, so your cornerback will help you, and your offensive tackle will help you. You're going to beat Philadelphia? No fucking way. Not with what you didn't add anything. Pittsburgh, who I think had the best draft, them or Atlanta. Derek Carmen is the best defensive tackle. That was a great draft pick, and they got him 21st from Oregon. Superstar. Caleb Johnson, running back, Iowa. Great pickup for Pittsburgh. Jack Sawyer, edge, Ohio State. Great pickup for Pittsburgh. Yala Black, defensive lineman, Iowa. You know how strong Iowa's defense is. I don't mind that. Will Howard, Ohio State. Great pick. Carson Bruner, defensive lineman, Washington. Okay, they need it. They gotta face Lamar twice. Dante Kent, cornerback, Central Michigan. So this is an A+ draft, right? You start it with, you need help on defense. You got to play. You got to play. Whatchamacallit? You got to play Burrow twice, and you got to play Lamar twice, and then you got to play. Who knows what Cleveland? Dylan Gabriel's a little young, but you got some offenses you got to deal with. It's not going to be easy, Cincinnati or Baltimore, so you better get some lines. So I like that. Caleb Johnson, they needed a running back. They let the kid from Alabama go. Sawyer from Ohio State, he's okay. He's not great, but he's okay. Can't hurt you. You've got TJ Watt. And then this other defensive lineman from Iowa, he'll be in the rotation. Will Howard's your quarterback, unless Aaron Rodgers says, yeah, I'll take it. And we're not sure if Rodgers is doing it, but Will Howard, fine. If he doesn't start this year and Rodgers is, you're fine. And if Rodgers doesn't show up, you're fine with Will Howard. He just won a national title. And what I like about him, I normally do not like Ohio State quarterbacks because they're running, scrambling around, and they don't know how to read. He played three years at Kansas State. He learned all that. You get much better coaching at Kansas State than at the year at Ohio State, and he did good in the playoffs. He didn't do good against Michigan, but he did good against Notre Dame. He struggled. He had a good game against Oregon, but that was just bullshit. That was running these guys underneath, behind the line of scrimmage, and he throws a 5-yard pass. So a lot of those passes, these guys were wide open. So I don't think he had a great game against Oregon. They did blow it open for some reason. But when I watched Dylan Gabriel in the game, he looked fine. He was able to escape pressure and threw some really tight passes right on the numbers. I don't see any problem with Dylan Gabriel. And then another defensive lineman from Washington, this cornerback from Central, who knows? Central did not have a good defense. So Pitt, I think, had the best draft, followed by Atlanta. Let's see, any other teams we should look at? Seattle had the worst. The Niners had a pretty good one. Washington's still in trouble. We looked at Oakland. Let's see, Kansas City. What did they do for Mahomes? It's a lot of defense, although their first pick is an offensive tackle from Ohio State. We know Mahomes needs this, and this is strictly targeted at Philadelphia. We are not beating Philadelphia without this guy. Okay, maybe. I don't know how good he was. Then Omar Lott from Tennessee. I love that for the defense. He's a good player. Ashton Gallot, defensive lineman, Louisville. So they're saying we need defense, and they have a good one, and with Spagnuolo. So I know they didn't sign some of their players, or they left. I know that happened to Philadelphia too. Then a DB from Carolina or California, wide receiver from Utah State. I don't know who this guy is. And then Jeff Bassa, defensive lineman from Oregon, but okay. And the running back from SMU probably is a good pass catcher. But the keys, you got Mahomes and you got Kelsey, so you just need some defense is what they did. And let's look at Minnesota. What the fuck were they doing? Donovan Jackson, offensive guard, Ohio State. Did you need offensive lineman, Minnesota? I don't know. The way you played the Lions, you need a lot more than that. This wide receiver, Ty Felton out of Maryland's a bust. Tyron Dawkins, D-line, Georgia. A lot of Georgia people. So I don't mind that, although they have a very strong defense. He'll be a backup. I don't understand Kobe King, a defensive lineman from Penn State. I don't get both of those. You've already got a good defense. And then Gavin Bartholomew, tight end, Pittsburgh. I don't know what you're doing. I think it's a weak draft. I don't mind the offensive guard from Ohio State, but I don't like him in the first round, and that's not your problem. J.J. McCarthy's your problem. Let me look at Green Bay. What the fuck did they do? Matthew Golden, wide receiver. Again, they have 5 receivers. I don't know why they're taking a wide receiver in the first round. Then you got Anthony Bolton, an offensive tackle. Okay, but he's in the second round. I don't like it. Tight end, a wide receiver from TCU, Savion Williams. So now that's a second receiver that you don't need. A defensive lineman from Texas. Okay, yes, you need defensive help. Linebacker for Oklahoma State. A defensive lineman from Georgia. Okay, and Mika Robinson, defensive back, Tulane. And then the O lineman from Cincinnati. So a lot of linemen. How are you going to beat the Lions? Yeah, you still have a bad quarterback, don't you? I don't know. I'm not worried about Green Bay. We're not going to be betting them too much. The Rammies. Let's take a look at the Rammies. Tight end from Oregon with their first pick. What the fuck are you doing? Josiah Stewart from Michigan. Looks like a defensive player. Jaquez Hunter, running back from Auburn. Really? In the 4th round, all these good running backs, and you get this guy? Ty Hamilton, defensive line from Ohio State. Okay, I don't mind that. Chris Paul played basketball too, from linebacker from Ole Miss. Okay, so they're getting some good defense. Kanta Mumfield, wide receiver Pitt. Yeah, you got Devontae Adams and Pukanuka. Where this guy is going to be taking out the Kool-Aid. Anyway, so that's basically the draftee. I don't know. I don't see it. So what you have is a very much confused analytic problem in the NFL. The first 3 rounds are O linemen, D linemen, the cornerbacks. You got the wrong quarterbacks. Cam Ward, and then you take Jackson Dart. Jackson Dart was maybe a top 10, one of the top 10 quarterback. He wasn't 1 through 5. He was maybe 8 or 9 on the list, not in the first round. This is the Giants' problem. Daniel Jones, same thing. You picked him about 8th or 9th out of Duke, he was nothing, and what are you taking him for? It takes you 5 years to realize you fucked up, and then you take this guy, and you're in the same boat. He's fast. Does he have an arm? No, but he's fast. What are you doing? Are you insane? So of all the quarterbacks they're going to take in the first round, they take the worst. Well, Prime Junior would have been the worst, so they take this guy. What are you doing here? I don't know. I think Jacksonville had the worst draft. They took the guy from Colorado second. You cannot take a cornerback in the second pick. It's got to be, had they taken the guy from Georgia, the edge rusher, beautiful pick. You're taking the Colorado guy second, and how's that going to help? He's going to be nothing in the league. It's a wasted pick. The second pick, you didn't address Trevor Lawrence. This was your chance to address Trevor Lawrence. You had the second pick. You could have went Will Howard. You could have went Dylan Gabriel, and you get a cornerback from Colorado who didn't have a very good defense. Oh wait, he's a receiver. So you think he's good because he plays offense and defense. You think he's good. Why did he? Why don't? How come nobody at Ohio State or at Alabama or Georgia plays offense and defense? Because they have offensive and defensive players there. The Georgia guys don't. They play defense. They go all out. They don't. They need the rest. So this guy apparently doesn't go all out if he doesn't need to rest, and every other player in college football needs to rest. And only Colorado has a guy going both ways when Georgia and even Alabama and Ohio State and Notre Dame, nobody goes both ways. You play cornerback, he'll play receiver. You don't have one guy do both. Will he do both in pros? No, he won't. Not very good. There's no way he can play cornerback and then go out and play receiver. Ain't going to happen. Mm-mm. So that was a wasted pick. Because it was the second pick, it was extremely wasted because you screwed up on all these. What are you? You're Jacksonville. You need a quarterback. You need a running back. You need defense. And you take, by defense, I mean, one of these edge rusher, linebacker types, one of these guys from Georgia, not a cornerback from Colorado who's the only reason is he played both sides is he even in the conversation. Terrible pick. Jacksonville will be, they haven't solved their problem. So when you go down these teams, you look at the problems. So let's solve the team's problems. Let's do what I do best. So we'll go right down. Arizona, their problems, defense. They got Kyler Murray. He's okay. I don't know if they still have James Conner, the running back. Marvin Harrison's horrible at receiver. They need to get rid of him. So I would have picked up a receiver, and then I would have went after the defense, which they did. So they got a lot of good defense. Atlanta needed defense because you have Penix, you got Bijan Robinson, you got receivers, and they did that very well. Baltimore needs a quarterback, and they needed some defense, and they got the defense. They got Cooper Rush as the quarterback. They would win the Super Bowl with Cooper Rush. They can't win it with Lamar. They got Derrick Henry. They probably need another running back to spell him. Maybe a couple offensive linemen or one, and then defense they need help on. And they need a new head coach. They're not winning anything with Harbaugh. Buffalo needs defense. They got a lot of defense. They got Josh Allen. They got Cook. They got Shakir. They got a good offense. They don't need much. Maybe an offensive lineman just to bolster it. But they need defense, and they didn't really get the defense they need to stop Kansas City. It's all about stopping Mahomes, and they can't do it. Carolina, they need a quarterback. They need a coach. They need running backs. They need receivers. They need defense. They got some defense, although we'll see. But your problem there is the coach and the quarterback. No matter who you get under, you can get Lawrence Taylor, 5 of them, and it's not going to help you because you have an idiot coach and an idiot quarterback. So you're not gonna win games with this quarterback or the coach. The Bears, you got your problems quarterback. Caleb's not a good quarterback. He's not going to help you. You got 2 or 3 receivers. You picked up some defense. Defense isn't your problem. Your problem is your quarterback and your coach. Now you replace the coach with the Lions offensive coordinator, who's well overrated. Well overrated because of his he's well overrated because of the where was I? I don't remember where it was. Sorry about the phone call. I don't know. It's just scam stuff. The offensive coordinator from the Lions is well overrated because the Lions had all the pieces. So a monkey could have been their offensive coordinator, right? But what happened in the big game against Washington doesn't show up. What happened against Baltimore doesn't show up. Dallas doesn't. All the big games, he relied on Goff, and Goff let him. So if he's going to rely on Caleb to win these games, he's got a problem. He needs to have a running game and a balanced offense, which he doesn't have. We'll see what he does. I don't think he knows how to coach, especially being a head coach. I think there's problems there. So he didn't solve the problem. Cincinnati, you got Joe Burrow and you got Chase. They did pick up the running back in the 7th round who should have went in the 2nd round. They did get some defensive help, but they got the wrong defensive end from A&M, unfortunately. But they did pick up another one after. So they got some defense they needed. They got some offensive linemen they needed. And they got the running back they needed. So Cincinnati did solve a lot of their problems. Although they got lucky that Tajee Brooks was there in the 7th round. He should have been gone in the 2nd round. Cleveland, I don't know what they did. They picked up 2 quarterbacks, 2 running backs. What are you doing? So they got the running back from Ohio State, the wrong one, and then they get Samson from Tennessee, he's better than the first one, and they get whatchamacallit, you get Dylan Gabriel, and then you add the circus with Prime Jr., where he'll think he's the best. I think that's a big problem, Cleveland, taking Sanders, huge problem. Dallas, they need a coach. They need a quarterback. They're not winning with Dak Prescott. They got rid of Cooper Rush. They're in big trouble. Okay, they added a defensive end. Who gives a fuck? They had a good defense. That wasn't their problem. Problem is Dak Prescott, no running. They got CeeDee Lamb, and that's it. Denver picked up a running back. They got a good quarterback. They got a good coach. They got the best coach, Sean Payton. So you got Bo Nix. You picked up your running back and a receiver, and you got a great defense, and you added a few pieces. So Denver had a great draft. Detroit hasn't solved their problem. They need a quarterback. They need defense. They got very little defensive help. They sign a receiver in the 3rd round who won't make the team. At best, maybe he's a special teams player. Fine, but not with a 3rd round pick. Again, terrible picking. Their 1st round pick, the defensive tackle's a bust. I watched 3 games, Ohio State. The guy didn't make a tackle. Michigan, Oregon, Notre Dame. The guy stands there, easily gets blocked, and doesn't make a tackle. I mean, they easily block him out. And then even when they run right at him, he doesn't make the tackle. So I don't know. I'm very confused. This guy's the greatest GM in the history of the world. I'm not seeing it. He took a 1st round pick to get a running back from Alabama. Nobody wanted. Took a 1st round pick on an injured wide receiver from Alabama. So all he's doing is taking guys from Alabama. He took a safety from Alabama. He took a cornerback who was the worst cornerback graded out ever, but nobody says a word. He's from Alabama. All he does is draft Alabama guys. So he finally drafted a few guys from Georgia in the late rounds. Those will be the players that make your team. Couple of linemen, I don't know. Are your linemen hurt? That's the strength of your team. But the problem he needed, it was a quarterback who he's got Hooker if they would play him. And then his biggest problem is his defense. And Hutchinson won't be ready. The injury he got is a multi-year. It's like Cam Rising. It's not going to be ready when the season starts. He's not going to be ready. And if he is, as soon as he gets hit again, he'll be out for another 2 years. He's not ready. And then you got all these other issues. You need cornerbacks, you need linebackers, and you need defensive linemen because the ones you got are all injured. So it doesn't matter. How long are they going to play till they get re-injured? They're injury prone. This is the NFL. This is everybody gets hurt. You didn't address your backups. No, I don't buy this GM. I don't smell what he's cooking. Green Bay, I don't know what the fuck they're doing. They have 5, 6 receivers. Their problem is Jordan Love's not good, and then their problem is they went out and picked up some receivers. They need help on defense. They picked up a little. They're not going to beat the Lions. Houston, I don't know what they're doing. They pick up 2 wide receivers from Iowa State. I didn't know Iowa State was a big offensive team. C.J. Stroud's average at best. You need some running help, and defense is pretty good. So you're okay. You need an offensive coordinator, and really C.J. Stroud's not your answer. Indy, God knows, it's a train wreck there. You got to get rid of Richardson. You need a head coach. You got Jonathan Taylor's your best player. Defense sucks. I think they picked up some defense. Jacksonville is living in a dream world somewhere. Your problem, Trevor Lawrence. You didn't address it. You need running backs. Didn't address it. You need defense. You need a coach. Yeah, we'll be betting heavily against Jacksonville. KC, you got Mahomes. Kelsey, you need a backup Kelsey. You didn't really get receivers. You got a lot of defense. I think you let a lot of people go. And the problem is you can't afford to keep your good defensive players because you're paying too much. Mahomes is making, what, $60 million? You can't win in the league and make $60 million. You can't keep any of your defensive players. All right, I got to take this one. Hello?
Well, it's Howard there.
This Howard.
Hi, Howard. This is Paul at Novi Michigan Works. You called earlier?
Yeah, thanks for taking my message and calling me back. I need to set up a RISA time.
Okay.
I just started unemployment, and they gave me a note to come in and schedule a time for this RESEA. So I just want to schedule a time with you and get that out of the way.
Okay, and you want to do it Novi, right? Because your message was saying you want to go to Livonia?
I wanted to go to Livonia, and I called Livonia, and Livonia said, I can't. I got to go to Oakland County because I live in Oakland County. So I preferred it because I go to the Livonia Rec Center, but that's okay. I'll come to you. You're a little bit farther away, but that's okay.
That's weird because I schedule people all the time. Like in Northville is Wayne County, or part of Northville is Wayne County, and it's 5 minutes from us. And they get told to go to like Livonia, Grosse Pointe, Detroit. And I schedule them all the time, so I don't know why they're not doing it, but it is what it is. So
yeah, whatever. I'm not going to argue with the lady there, but I thought as long as I go to one, what's the difference? I mean, that's the point of it. But
if they're not doing it, we'll do it. So
yeah, that's fine.
No problem. What's your last name again for me, Howard?
ROBINS.
All right. Do you have the letter in front of you by any chance? Just because I don't have a copy of it.
No, it's on the site. I didn't get it. I don't get mailed. I get it in the correspondence. So it just said to come in by, I think, May 12th.
Okay,
So nothing. Yeah. Yeah. So the quicker, the better. We can do it this week's fine. Just get it over with.
Sure. About tomorrow at 10 o'clock in the morning.
How long does it take? About a half hour?
Hour to an hour and a half.
Can we make it Wednesday? I got a thing with Toyota to do my oil tomorrow at 1, so I don't want to get caught into it. So can we do Wednesday?
At the latest, we'll be done at 11:30. Does that make a difference, or I didn't know how far you had to go?
Okay, yeah, let's get it done tomorrow. It's fine. That'll just be a busy day.
If not, we do only normally do my Tuesdays and Thursdays. So.
All right, let's do
tomorrow
Tuesday.
at 10, right?
All right, tomorrow at 10's fine.
Okay. You know where we're located, right?
Yeah.
All right. Just get here about 10 minutes early. Let them know when you come in. You're here for a receipt, and we'll go from there.
Perfect.
Okay?
Okay. Thank you very
All
much.
right. I'll see you tomorrow.
Okay.
You're welcome.
Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye.
Sorry, I had to take that call for unemployment. They're trying to get me to go in and learn how to get a job for some reason. It's really bizarre. But anyway, we will take care of that tomorrow. And then I got Toyota, so I don't think I'll be doing a class tomorrow. And I might have an interview with Mercedes sometime this week. And Toyota's at 140. So busy day. I don't know when I can do the class because this will go 10 to 11:30. And then this is 140. Maybe I can do 11:30 to 12:30 if I get done in time. Anyway, sorry about that, but that one I had to take. The other calls I don't. All right. So let's go to the Rams. Terrence Ferguson, tight end, Oregon. Oh, yeah, we already did the Rams. Okay. So enough said there. Let's look at baseball one more time, and then we'll go. We got the Mets, Cleveland over 8, the Yankees over 8, Cincinnati over 9.5, Texas over 9, Houston under 7.5, Colorado over 10, and the Dodgers over 8.5. That's the only play. 3 units take the over in that game. NBA. I don't remember what I took. There's a couple of games tonight. I don't think I love the NBA tonight. Cleveland, Miami. Yeah, it's a tough one. Cleveland can finish them off. 8.5. Miami's so bad. I think Cleveland finishes them off, but it could be close. So I'm staying away from that. And Houston, Golden State. It's tough because now Golden State's up 2-1. I want to wait and see if Golden State goes up 3-1. We'll jump on Houston the next game. Houston should play a really good game. They're getting 3.5. I think I'll take Houston in the 3.5. So that'll be our bet. Let's look at gold, what it's doing. And let's look at the market, what's that's doing. Gold is at 33.38. There you go. So look how it's low with China, and look at the beginning with these little etch-a-sketches. Then it gets into a normal thing about 5 o'clock, and it's down at the 32s. And then all of a sudden, 10 o'clock, the U.S. takes over on a downbeat, 32.90, and they shoot it. Look how it shoots up to 33.28, and then it's staying 33.38. Now, let's see if we get the same run in silver. So silver has a much different trend. These trends used to be identical, these charts. And now look at the difference. Way down at 10 o'clock, it goes way down and then jumps up. So the 10 o'clock jump did do both. Gold and silver did jump at 10, and they did drop at 9:45. So it's been down to 32.80 at 4 in the morning, and then up. And look at the jumps. They go up 10, 15 cents. But again, this is the problem I have is gold sits there and gold goes up. Well, it's up $6 now, but even that we got 4 cents. We would take $6. Well, let's look at Bitcoin. Let's see, Bitcoin is at 93,000, down a couple thousand. Why it goes to 93, 95? It's not real. It's a joke. So ignore Bitcoin. And then let's look at the Dow. It's so hard to find the fucking Dow. I don't know. It opened at 40,001, and I don't know where it's at right now. I've never seen it so hard to get it. Oh, it's at. Oh, okay. It's at 39,975. So why it's that high, I have no idea, but it's going to collapse. But the problem is the government keeps it there to show you what's going on. So in other words, it says, look at the market. We must be doing well. And look at the phony inflation number. It's 3%. When both are total scams. Inflation is not measured by percentage. It can't be. It is not that type of animal. Inflation is strictly printing of the money. You cannot do that in a percentage. All we know is the money's printed. Nobody wants it. 44 countries in BRICS now, or slowly joining, probably will join July 17th when they have the BRICS meeting in Brazil. They'll probably announce all these countries joining, which means they're out of the dollar. Some might do both, but I think when they want to trade and, you want goods out of China, you trade with China, you're going to use the BRICS gold-backed currency, which is basically out or starting to come out. And that's the end of the dollar. Nobody wants it. I don't want the dollar. I'm not going to get it. I wanted to show, but I'm not going to show it this late. I think later I'll come on with showing this Treasury's secretary, this idiot from George Soros, Scott Bassett. He's not even an economist. He says, I'm not an economist. I'm just a history of economics. What? He's not an economist, and he's the secretary. He's the secretary of the Treasury. He's not an economist, and certainly not Keynesian, Austrian. If you listen to him blabber on, you don't know what the fuck he's talking about. I'm listening going, I don't know what you're saying, whoever the hell you are. Why are you the secretary? Oh, because George Soros said that. Oh, okay. That's the problem with it. You've got idiots running the money, and they keep thinking, well, you can print as much as you want, until it was said you can print as much as you want until people discover it's worthless. So that means you can't print as much as you want because it is worthless, right? It's not worth anything if you keep printing all this, and that's the problem you have. So anyway, that's kind of what's going on. So I'm going to have some lunch. The draft is all screwed up. Everybody's taking linemen. Well, there's not that many good linemen to take. If you watch the playoffs, it was very bad football. But then if you notice how good Will Howard was, and even Riley Leonard, Riley Leonard's okay. He's not good. Will Howard's very good. And nobody, they didn't get him until Pittsburgh got a steal in the 6th round with them. I mean, that's a joke. So I don't know what's going on there. Anyway, that's what's happening. So busy day tomorrow. This reset is just unemployment crap. So I got to go at 10 o'clock for an hour to sit there to understand how to get a job. Like, really? You got to be fucking kidding me. Uh, I don't really have a resume printed out. I got my resume on my phone, so I'll have to figure out how to get it to them. And I do have my ID, and then what I called in. So anyway, everything's on my phone now. I don't print out a resume. What for? You don't. I just had an interview on Teams. I'm waiting. I'll probably get an interview tomorrow with Mercedes since I have these two things going. But anyway, that's what's going on. So the draft overall, I thought it was weak. I think it was very weak in quarterbacks, pretty strong in running backs, very weak in receivers. And all these linemen that went, there's not that many good linemen in college. Now, again, you still have this COVID effect where these quarterbacks, these players play 5-6 years and then get like Dylan Gabriel. And somebody asked me yesterday about Cam Rising. Unfortunately, he's just too injured. He tried to come back. His knee was hurting. He just can't go in for you. He was a great quarterback. It sucks. Van Dyke from Miami went to Wisconsin. He hurt his knee. So it's just tough, these injuries. So anyway, that's what you got. And outside of that, have a good day. Gold's starting to shoot. Look for gold 3,500 is our next target. Luke, gold 10,000. We got to get through the earlier stages, but yes, that's where it's headed. It's 33. Luke, when are we going to Capitol Grill? Bobby, you've disappeared on us. So are we going to Capitol Grill? Anybody else wanting to go to Capitol Grill? We'll make an arrangement. I'm not sure where. Luke's in Pittsburgh. I'm in Detroit. Bobby's in Tampa, but we haven't heard from him. So it'll probably be me or Luke arranging. And it's celebrating gold 3,000. And we better do it soon because then we'll be celebrating gold 5,000. Anyway, nothing should stop gold because this is paper gold, keep in mind, versus physical. Nothing can stop physical gold because the alternative is to sell it and get back into this. Why would you do that? You got to be an idiot because that's what we're doing. We know this is worthless and we know this is worthless. So the whole point is you're getting out of this and buying gold. That's why I say Rumpelstiltskin, because I'm going to turn this into gold. And if that's the case, then once I have the gold, I don't want dollars. I don't want to sell this to get dollars. I would sell this to buy gold, but not to buy dollars. And that's really the key to it. So you're trying to get out of dollars. And as the whole world is in the same boat with the money printed, that's all worthless. Keep one thing in mind. The money can only be worth something if it's backed by gold and or silver. It has to be backed by something with value. You cannot back your dollar with nothing. Then it's worth nothing. So since 1971, that dollar, the euro, the British pound are all worthless. Once we went off the gold standard, all the money in the world has been worthless. Now, sure, it's a medium of exchange, which means that it's something that you exchange it with, but it has to have a value. How do you exchange potatoes for golf clubs if you don't know what the value of the exchange is? So we don't know. This is worth 1 cent. This is not worth $1. So we don't know the value of this. So we don't know really the value of what we're buying because it's based in dollars, which are worthless. So you go buy a $300 tennis racket. You're not paying $300. You're paying $300 Monopoly money. You don't know what you're really paying. So keep that in mind, that the dollar has to be backed by gold to have a value. And since it's not, it has no value. That's probably the most simplest way. It's a medium of exchange, which means you get paid in it and you go buy things in it. That's what you do with your dollars. That's why you have dollars, is so how do I pay you and then how do you spend it? That's the exchange part of the medium. So you're taking it, but Bitcoin's not a medium of exchange. You can't use it to buy and sell. And you can't, stocks are stocks, they're dollars. So you want to get out of the dollar system because it's all broke, it's all worthless. That's why it's the Titanic, it's sinking. And if you go from stocks to Bitcoin, all you've done is gone from the second deck to the third deck. You're still on the boat. And on the boat, you still need a lifeboat. So that's really the biggest key I can tell you. Retirement planning, gold and silver. Life insurance, gold and silver. That's it. Because everything's in dollars, there's no such thing as retirement planning. If they put you in stocks, you're fucked. Unless they put you in gold and silver, which they won't do because it's not on their commission, you're fucked. It's a whole Ponzi scheme to keep you into the stock market. That's what this whole thing's about, or Bitcoin, or ETFs, or in the money in the bank. The banks control Wall Street. It's all one big Ponzi scheme. Get the hell out of it. Listen to Madoff. He's saying the whole thing's a Ponzi scheme. He was a Ponzi scheme. So anyway, just be careful. All right. I'm going to go eat. I'm going to the pool at about 3. I'm all set for my unemployment. Am I getting my oil change? My oil change is free because I give him tips on economics. He's crying about he can't sell his Toyota Camrys at $35,000. This is the sales manager. It says, because your market's here and you're trying to sell it at 35, and guess what? There's no market. And so I think he listened. I think he lowered the price to 26. And the same thing I do with the barbecue guy. Your market for ribs is 30 and you're trying to sell it at 40. If you try to sell it at $40 for a slab of ribs, there's nobody there. There's nobody home. The market is down here. That's your only way to do it, is you have to know what the market is to sell things. Enough said. All right, everybody, have a good day. www.teaserking.com. Really only one baseball, the Dodgers over 8.5. Otherwise, that's just a Monday, and I hope you had a nice weekend. All right, take care, everybody.